This is Corey Vaughn, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Welcome inside the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network as we take you in to the Regency Furniture Stadium here in Waldorf, Maryland. Andrew Banster alongside my broadcast partner, Austin Rooney, as we take you into this May 26, 2019 ball game between the Somerset Patriots and the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. The Blue Crabs taking host to the Somerset Patriots for the final of a three-game series between the two teams. Southern Maryland comes in with a record of 6-22 on the year, having dropped each of their last 10 following a 3 out of 4 win streak. As for the Somerset Patriots, they picked up the first two games of this series. They're 18-10 on the season, as the Blue Crabs will try to make them 16-10 on the year. It's been an interesting night here at Regency Furniture Stadium, not something you see every night, as the bees have been in full effect, and as Austin pointed out earlier, we're not talking about the New Britain bees. We're talking about actual bees, as probably about 2 hours before first pitch, around 4 o'clock, 4:30, I don't know, what would you guess? Thousands of bees rolled into the stadium?
Yeah, well, they're not only here near our press box area, but they're all around the concourse area as well, so they've been spraying them, getting rid of them. And just outside here on the screen, there is a collection of probably, I don't know, a couple hundred of them, but they're no longer flying around and creating a swarm the way they were before.
Yeah, there was probably thousands of them in front of us here in the press box. Great job by our Director of Operations, Tim Lillis, and everybody in the front office staff taking care of that. Great job. It's Stats Sunday here on a Sunday night. Because you don't have to work tomorrow due to Memorial Day, we're going to work extra hard providing you Sunday night baseball here on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. Stats Sunday means that every single Sunday we're going to take you through one type of statistic. All the time in the game of baseball, people are throwing statistics every which way, saying this guy's doing this in this situation because of this, this, and that. Well, we're going to try to make some sense of a little bit of that tonight. We're going to take it one Sunday at a time. And on the first edition of the 2019 Stats Sunday, we're going to be breaking down slugging percentage. That we will get to later. First, let's run through the starting lineups presented by Birch Oil. For the Somerset Patriots, 18-10 on the year, they lead off with the center fielder, number 5, Darby Myers. Hitting second, the third baseman, number 21, Ray Navarro, followed by Edwin Espinal, the designated hitter, number 53. In the cleanup spot, the first baseman, number 7, Will Kenger, followed by the catcher, number 34, Michael Ullman. Batting sixth, the left fielder, number 31, Ramon Flores. 7-8-9 reads as follows for the Somerset Patriots. It's the shortstop, number 8, Alfredo Rodriguez, the second baseman, number 25, Craig Massey, and the right fielder, number 3, Mike Francoso. On the mound for the Somerset Patriots, the left-hander, number 11, Thomas Dormany. On the mound for your Blue Crabs, right-hander, number 14, Michael Kelly, in his fourth start of the season. Now what you've all been waiting for, your starting lineup for your Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, presented by Birch Oil. Batting first for your 6-22 Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, Angelise Nina, number 15, the second baseman. Batting second, Ruby Silva, number 12, the right fielder, followed by the switch-hitting third baseman Frank Martinez, batting third. Batting fourth, a Blue Crab returner, played back in 2014 and 15, now in his fifth game of 2019 with the Blue Crabs, has provided a much-needed spark to this year's lineup in Jose Julio Ruiz. The cleanup hitting first baseman wears number 40 on the back of his jersey. Batting fifth, the center fielder, number 27, a fan favorite, Corey Vaughn. Followed by Corey Vaughn is Charlie Valerio, number 8, the catcher, getting his second start of this three-game series here in the finale. And 7-8-9 reads as follows. It goes Edwin Garcia, John Griffin, and Josh McAdams. As I believe our groundskeeper Ben Baker and our general manager Courtney Knischel are looking at what weather might be coming our way. I know the tarp was on the field earlier, Austin. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the weather right now, as we'll give you guys an update.
Yeah, from what I saw about the weather forecast a few moments ago, it seemed to indicate that thunderstorms or rain showers were at least in the forecast for the next 30 minutes to an hour. and I believe there is some rain coming down on the field right now. And then, in addition to the rain that's supposed to be occurring in the next 30 minutes or so, there are severe thunderstorms headed later tonight in the 10 to 11 o'clock hour. So, again, should they delay too long, they could come into play this more severe thunderstorms later on. So, I think the goal has to be to get the game in as soon as possible.
And keep in mind, 5 innings equals a complete game. If we get 2 or past 5 innings, 5 complete innings played, that is when the game is considered official if we're not able to make it up. It's 84 degrees outside and rainy. It feels like 88, and boy, is it humid today, Austin. The hottest day of this 3-game series.
Oh, it is very humid outside. I spent most of the day inside today in the nice air-conditioned press box here from Regency Furniture Stadium. But when I have been outside, I've noticed the air feels just very thick out there. It's already, as you mentioned, 88 degrees, and that humidity just adds a few degrees to it.
The time, 6:37 p.m. It tells me on our trusty AccuWeather that periods of rain and a thunderstorm will continue for 46 minutes. So it's going to be interesting to see what they call. It's tough to tell exactly how hard it's coming down out here, but from our vantage point, it doesn't look to be coming out too hard outside. As we see the bees starting to rumble. If you're just tuning in, we did have a bee infestation about 2 hours before first pitch. It never fails that things happen in minor league baseball, as you never really know what's going to go on. We had probably, I don't know, what do you think? Probably 70,000. Is that a long shot?
I think you're just throwing a number against the wall there. I don't know.
I mean,
I think from what there was up here, I imagine there were a few thousand.
No, but they were all over the stadium.
But I'm just saying just up here. And then there were thousands down below. We couldn't see them. But my understanding was that there were thousands along the concourse level. But as you mentioned, our outstanding director of operations, Tim, took care of almost everything. And looks like we're close to set to play here. The only spot we've got left is a collection of bees that are in the netting.
And that's nearly impossible to reach. As for Tim, can't do anything about the ensuing rain, although if you ever come to a game, you'll see him doing just about everything around here. He's a very valued employee. Don't know what we do without him as we get closer and closer to first pitch. Let's run through a little bit of what is to come in this Stats Sunday. Once again, every Sunday, we're going to be breaking down a stat. If you watch baseball and you get overwhelmed sometimes thinking, what are all these stats that these people are throwing at me? What does this mean? What does that mean? Well, we're hoping to make that a little bit easier for you here on Stats Sunday, the first edition of it in 2019. We're going to be breaking down slugging percentage. Before we talk about slugging percentage, let's talk about what exactly batting average is. Batting average is how many times out of 10 is an individual getting a base hit. As we'll continue this conversation after the national anthem here on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Western.
Welcome back inside Regency Furniture Stadium. Waldorf, Maryland, the site of this series finale between the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and the Somerset Patriots, as your Blue Crabs take host to the Patriots in Game 3 of a 7-game homestand. Southern Maryland riding a 10-game losing skid, looking to turn that around today against the Patriots with right-hander Michael Kelly on the mound. Right-hander Michael Kelly with an 0-2 record, a 5.40 ERA in his last start, by far and away the best start of his young season, as Austin is going to show you what it looks like with all of the bees that have infested Regency Furniture Stadium. Trust me, earlier it was far and away different than what it is now. Tim Lillis, our Director of Operations, did a fantastic job tending to these bees, but he'll show you what it looks like right now, the aftermath, as you see a couple of the bees swarming, yet really the issue, as you see, really the biggest issue is that at the top of your screen you'll see a big swarm of bees collecting on top of the netting that protects fans from foul balls here at Regency Furniture Stadium, as you continue to look at the bees. Not the New Britain bees, one of the Southern Maryland rivals, of course. As these bees have made their mark on Regency Furniture Stadium today, the Blue Crabs hoping to do the same, once again looking to end a 10-game losing skid. Let's give you the starting lineups once more, as our deepest apologies for any technical difficulties we may have experienced, as Kelly's first 2 pitches will miss upstairs and a little inside to count 2 balls and no strikes. Kelly fresh off by far and away his best start of the young season, as the right-hander comes home with a strike to Darby Myers. Count 2 balls and a strike. In Kelly's last outing at York against the Revolution, he got the no decision, but the right-hander went 7 innings strong, allowing no runs, 4 hits, 7 strikeouts, and no walks, as the count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Darby Myers on the season with a .579 slugging percentage. Once again, it is Stats Sunday here in Southern Maryland, as Michael Kelly makes Darby Myers whiff on strike number 3. First strikeout of the night recorded by the right-hander. We mentioned here on Stats Sunday that we're going to be giving you a little bit of explanation as to what some of these stats mean that us and other broadcasters or anybody in baseball may throw at you on any given day. Let's talk about slugging percentage, but first, as a precursor, let's give you a little bit of a background as to what batting average is. Batting average is how many times per every 10 at-bats or 100 at-bats that an individual is going to reach base via the hit. As Kelly's first pitch to the right, make that the third baseman, the left-handed hitting Ray Navarro, misses for a ball. So if I get a base hit 3 out of every 10 times, I take 3 divided by 10, and I get .300. Then I would have a 300 batting average. If I get a hit 7 out of 10 times, then I would have a 700 batting average. Well, as Kelly comes up with a 2-0 that will miss, make that the 1-1 that'll miss, 2 and 1 to count. Slugging percentage tries to take that a step further. It really is of the understanding that not all hits are equal. So the best batting average that you could possibly have is 1.00, which means that you always get a hit. Slugging percentage is a little different in that it is on a scale of 4, that being because slugging percentage is the average number of average number of bases reached per at-bat. It only counts via the hit. So if I hit all home runs, my slugging percentage is going to be 4.0. As Kelly misses outside with a curveball and lets the first runner of this game reach. So slugging percentage tries to give basically an understanding of how powerful is this individual. As Edwin Espinal, the most powerful individual on this Somerset roster, who comes in with a .525 slugging percentage, comes up to the plate. That means that per every at-bat, he's getting .5 bases. And per every 10 bats, he is getting 5 bases. Those bases only referring to bases reached via the hit. So if his batting average is 300, but his slugging percentage is 500, that means he's hitting any combination of either 3 singles and a double, or so on and so on. Kelly coming home with the 0-1. This could be a double play ball. Nina to Garcia, now off to first. Kelly gets saved from his one-out walk and gets out of it with a 4-6-3 double play. On the other end of this break, the Blue Crabs look to strike first with Angelique's Nina, Ruby Silva, and Frank Martinez here on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is John Hayes, right-hand pitcher for the Blue Crabs. Everyone loves Game of Thrones. There's no hiding it. Take a binge break and come join us for Game of Thrones night on May 30th here at Regency Furniture Stadium. Winter may not be coming, but a full summer of Blue Crabs games is, and you don't want to miss the action.
Welcome back inside Regency Furniture Stadium as we take you in to this bottom of the first inning of baseball here in Southern Maryland, Waldorf, Maryland, the site of this game, the series finale between the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and the Somerset Patriots here on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. Somerset set down in order in their top half of the first after they did reach on a walk. Michael Kelly induced a double play ball as Angelique's Nina was the ringleader of that double play. First pitch from left-hander Thomas Dormany will miss outside to Angelique's Nina, making the count a ball and no strikes. Dormany rocks and fires. This pitch struck well to the right side, but will be out of play. The count evens up at a ball and a strike. Nina on the season has a total of a 674 on base plus slugging percentage. When you look at Nina's total slugging percentage, it is a 341 on the season, which means that out of every 10 at-bats, he is getting at least 3 bases, which means that he may be hitting 1 triple, he may be hitting 3 singles, but he is accumulating 3 bases per every 10 bats. Slugging percentage, a statistic that breaks down how powerful an individual is, as Nina weakly chops one off to the left side, no problem for Alfredo Rodriguez, who puts him away for out number 1. 1 down, none on, brings up Ruby Silva. Silva on the season having a very good year. You look at his slugging percentage, it reads at 420. Means that he, out of every 10 at-bats, is getting at least 4 total bases. That could be 1 home run. That could be 4 singles. That could be 2 doubles. Could be a triple and a single, but in some way or another, he is accumulating 4.2 bases, as that looks to be 4 bases in 1 swing. Silva sends a moonshot to the left side, and it's way gone. Blue Crabs strike first here on a May 26th evening. What a shot by Silva.
A very well-hit ball off the bat of Ruby Silva, and he goes the other way with it. Launching one into left center field, out over by the boats in left center.
What a moonshot by Ruby Silva, who gets the Blue Crabs on the board first. 1-0 Southern Maryland here in the early going. Next up, Frank Martinez, who takes a strike on the outer half. This is the first time in this series that Southern Maryland has scored the first run of the ball game. The Blue Crabs fare much better when they score first. as on the season they're 4-6 when they score first, but when the opponent scores first, they are 2-16. Those two were two comeback wins that came in consecutive days a couple of weeks ago, as the count evens at 1 to Martinez. He takes a big hack at a curveball, but swings through it, falls behind in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Looking over at the starter in Thomas Dormany, looking at a couple of his career numbers as the left-hander resides in Wildwood, Florida. As he rocks back and fires, the 1-2 pitch jams Martinez on the inner half, and it goes down as strike number 3, the first strikeout for the left-hander of the evening. The numbers on the year for Dormany, he's 0-3 with a 4.82 ERA. He has walked 8 batters while striking out 11. In his most recent appearance, he got the loss in a 0-1 game. He got the loss in a 6-5 game. He went 5 innings strong, allowing 8 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned, walking 2 and striking out just as many. As a powerful individual, and Jose Ruiz steps up. He has 2 doubles in 5 games this year in Southern Maryland, and he has a .500 slugging percentage while at home. Austin, would you like to break down a little bit for the fans what exactly a .500 slugging percentage means, and how good is that as compared to a typical slugging percentage?
Well, .500 slugging percentage, as you've outlined so far, so eloquently, Andrew, is that it generally means you have 5 bases for every 10 at-bats in theory. So, again, it's total. The way you actually calculate slugging percentage is total bases over all at-bats. So, as you mentioned, Andrew, if you had 5 bases over 10 at-bats, you'd have a .500 slugging percentage. As far as how good a .500 slugging percentage is, the way to generally look at this is if you're under 350, you're struggling. If you're in the mid-400s or so, you're right around average. And if you're 600 or above, it's outstanding. So a .500 slugging percentage is significantly above average, but not outstanding. It's good.
And Corey Vaughn sitting well above average at .418 slugging percentage. He takes a big hack at a pitch and will swing through it after Jose Ruiz reached via the 4-pitch walk.
And slugging percentage is generally thought of as a good stat. There are some people who believe that, well, it does not include walks, and there are other ways to get on base that are also important that slugging percentage does not answer. And a stat we'll be looking for in the not-too-distant future is OPS. You won't talk about that quite as much today, but it's a stat that looks to combine both on-base and slugging.
And that on-base plus slugging percentage stat is a very valuable tool, and that will be one of our next topics. We wanted to do that today, but thought it'd be more important to go over slugging first, as that's such a valuable piece of the on-base plus slugging. Here on our first edition of Stats Sunday here at Regency Furniture Stadium. In Thomas Dormany's first season in the Atlantic League, spending it with Somerset. As he'll get Vaughn to swing through a curveball. Second strikeout of the inning sends us into the top of the second. The Blue Crabs leave one stranded, but they strike first on a Ruby Silva big shot to the left side. Not quite a grand slam. It was a solo shot. And that's how the Blue Crabs get on the board first here in Southern Maryland. When we come back on the other end of this break, it's Michael Kelly back out on the bump on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Adam Choplik, left-handed pitcher for the Blue Crabs. Every Blue Crabs Wednesday home game is Wind Up Wednesday Ladies Night at Regency Furniture Stadium, presented by Cove Point Winery. At every Wind Up Wednesday Ladies Night, women will get in for just $5 and can order from a long list of fine wines. And watch every baseball game from Southern Maryland at the same time. We look forward to seeing you at the ballpark.
Welcome back inside Regency Furniture Stadium. We head into the top of the second inning of action. Michael Kelly on the mound. He's faced the minimum amount of batters in this ball game as he set 3 up and 3 down back in the first. Kelly jams in a pitch to Will Kenger. It's very well hit, but right at Ruby Silva. And a hard hit out number 1 is recorded on just 1 pitch.
Yeah, Will Kenger, a very dangerous bat. On the discussion of slugging percentage, he's at .533. One of the top hitters on this Patriots roster. He and Espinal are 1 and 2.
As Michael Ullman rolls up to the plate, when you look at Ullman's numbers and his slugging percentage, when he is playing on the road, as the first pitch will not quite catch the strike zone, 1-0 the count. When you look over at Michael Ullman's numbers on the season, not playing at home, his numbers read as follows: .533 slugging percentage. We mentioned earlier that 600s is outstanding. So, Austin, where does a .533 slugging percentage stand?
That's pretty darn good. Again, if you're looking at a .450 as maybe an average, probably .425, 500 is amazing.
As this ball is smoked to the left side. See you later, baseball, as it lands on top of the blue and white tent out in left field on top of the picnic deck. And in the bottom of the first, the Blue Crabs struck with a home run of their own. Michael Ullman says, "I see your home run and send my own. We're even at 1-1.
Yeah, I said, just to clarify there, I believe Ullman's slugging percentage will go up quite a bit. .530 is pretty good, not amazing. 600 is amazing. .530, pretty darn good.
And as we mentioned, if you hit a home run in every single time that you got a base hit on the season, your slugging percentage would be 4.0. And Ullman's was .533. So pretty darn good. In every 10 at-bats, he's reaching 5 bases via hits alone. That does not account for walks, reached on errors, or anything like that. As Kelly will have to see how he rebounds. 3-0 goes the count. Kelly hasn't gotten a whole lot of run support this year. That home run in the bottom of the first inning, just the second run of run support Kelly's gotten here in his 4th start of the season. In Kelly's last start, he was magnificent, to say the least. He went 7 innings strong, allowing no runs, just 4 hits, striking out 7, and not a single walk issue. Kelly comes home with a 3-0. He trusts the curveball and comes in with it as it'll miss outside. That was a 2-2 pitch. Really trust that curveball, but we're full now at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Defensive alignment for the Blue Crabs reads as follows. From left to right in the outfield, it's Josh McAdams, Corey Vaughn, and Ruby Silva. Left to right in the infield, Frank Martinez, Edwin Garcia, Angelis Nina, and Jose Ruiz. Behind the dish, Charlie Valerio, Michael Kelly on the bump as his payoff pitch is once again spoiled away. The count now 3-2. Pitch number 8 of this at-bat incoming. And after Kelly got Will Kenger out on just 1 pitch, he allows the home run and now an 8-pitch at-bat. At the very least, as this one hit very well to the right side as well. Ruby Silva on the backtrack. It bounces off a sign in right field. Silva comes up throwing after catching it. It'll come down as a double for Ramon Flores, who follows up Michael Ullman's big-time home run and puts yet another runner in scoring position for these Patriots. If you're Kelly right now, Austin, how do you rebound after a very good start to this game and a couple of bad at-bats?
Yeah, I think you have to make sure that you continue to throw, and you got to make sure that you're throwing strikes. And I think that you can't try to aim too much. You can't just try to hit the corners of the strike zone here. You have to continue to pound the zone, mix up your pitches. That's going to be a big one, not just continuously throwing the same stuff.
And Kelly is very good at mixing up his pitches. He really relies on that curveball in unorthodox batting counts, as you see right there on the first pitch to Alfredo Rodriguez. He comes in with an atypical first pitch and a curveball. Gives him a curveball for the second pitch as well. It's a well-struck fly ball to right field. Ruby Silva fields, comes up throwing, and nobody has any intentions of testing the powerful right arm of Ruby Silva out there in right field. That's what happens when you have a great fielder. It'll cause individuals to not reach base and not get to more bases.
Yeah, fielding is it's an interesting trait because a lot of teams value it extremely highly, and a lot of teams value it less so than a good bat. So in scouting in the MLB draft, which is right around the corner, fielding is a category which is one of the 5 tools that's frequently talked about. You have contact, you have power, you have speed, you have fielding, and then you have the arm as well. And a lot of teams rely heavily on the arm, and they also rely heavily on fielding, but others say, you know what, we'd rather have the big bat. We're okay taking a first baseman in one of the top picks.
And I've heard many times from coaches in the past that have said, and not at the professional level have I heard this, and I'd like to know the opinion of somebody like Stan Clyburn. I'd imagine more so at the professional level, most of the guys can both field and hit. But I've heard many times at the collegiate and high school level that if you hit the ball, you're going to find a way into the field. If you're a phenomenal fielder and can't hit the ball, you may not find your way in the field quite as often.
A couple of players here I want to talk about with regard to this situation, and they would be David Ortiz and Jackie Bradley Jr., two Red Sox players.
Very valid point.
One, a former player, a retired player, and probably a future Hall of Famer at that, in David Ortiz, and Jackie Bradley Jr., a current Red Sox player. Now, Jackie Bradley Jr. this year, who is not a very good hitter, is a terrific fielder and has saved a game for the Red Sox this year, robbing a home run that would have been a walk-off. Red Sox went on to win that game in extra innings. So that's an example of fielding, winning a game for your team. On the other hand, David Ortiz could not play the field really at all. He would sometimes play in interleague matchups as a first baseman, and he found his way into the lineup as a designated hitter, and an outstanding one at that.
That's very, very valid as the count goes to 1-2. Great examples as Kelly gets the left-handed hitting Massey to slap one off to the other side. We'll stay at 1-2. Kind of shows you that many times, sometimes in the game of baseball, if you're extremely talented at any one thing, that will set you apart. As many times they say in the MLB draft process, they'll say, is there that one thing that this guy possesses that sets him apart from somebody else? Is he incredibly fast? Can he hit the ball extremely well? Is there one of the 5 tools that he excels at? As Craig Massey will swing through a pitch for strike number 3. Kelly allows just 1 run in the inning and leaves 1 stranded. But to finish my point, typically of those 5 tools you mentioned, if an individual is very average or even above average at all 5 tools, he may not be as admirable or as desirable by a team as somebody who really stands out at one of the more premier 5 skills. Interesting stuff. We take a 1-1 ball game into the bottom of the second. When we come back, it's going to be the 6, 7, 8 of the Blue Crabs lineup in Charlie Valerio, Edwin Garcia, and John Griffin here on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Mike Falsetti, catcher for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. What's more American than man's best friend in baseball? These will collide when we combine dogs and baseball for our first Bark in the Park Day on June 9th. You bring your dog, we'll provide you with the baseball and a pooper scooper presented by Paws and Play. June 9th is a day for pups and baseball. You don't want to miss it. This is Mike Falsetti, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Welcome back inside Regency Furniture Stadium. We take you into the bottom of the second inning of baseball here on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network as your Blue Crabs finish out a series finale with the Somerset Patriots. Southern Maryland has dropped both of these games. In fact, dropped each of their last 10 games that they've played, dropping them to a 6-22 record as Charlie Valerio comes up to the plate.
Yeah, Charlie Valerio in for Falsetti, who you just heard a moment ago in the commercial break. Valerio had a 2-run home run in Game 1 of this series, and he's been hitting the ball very well, which leads him to find himself in the 6th hole in this lineup. Falsetti also added a base hit of his own last night.
And it's always, we talk about the good problems to have in the game of baseball. as Valerio slaps one hard to the left side, having a tough time fielding it as Ray Navarro, the third baseman, and Valerio will reach base. We'll have to wait for the official ruling on that play. It's going to be a base hit for Charlie Valerio, who comes up with a single to lead off this inning. Now each side with 2 hits in the ball game. We got the runs on the board early. Ruby Silva hit a home run on a solo shot back in the first. And in the top of the second, Michael Ullman sent a home run out of this ballpark to tie us at 1-1. That home run, the third on the year for Ruby Silva, as it underscores the importance of slugging percentage, as we've talked about. Left-hander Michael Ullman comes in with his first pitch. It'll miss downstairs. The count of ball and no strikes. Now, Edwin Garcia, this is really interesting, Austin. Edwin Garcia on the season has a .345 slugging percentage, and that's a little bit below average. Is that correct?
That would be correct, yeah. If you're under 350, that's not great.
And on the season against left-handers, he has a .560 slugging percentage, which
That's
is
pretty darn good.
So we talk again against left-handed pitchers in every 10 at-bats in which he's getting a hit. In every 10 at-bats, he's accumulating 5 bases via the hit against left-handers. As he'll send one very far to center field. Back on the track is Darby Myers. This ball goes about 390 feet before being gloved with one hand over the shoulder by Myers in center field near the warning track for out number 1.
Well, going back to the tools you were talking about at the end of the last inning, Darby Myers, someone who is an outstanding defensive player. His fielding is well above average, also has very good speed, which allows him to get to those balls in the field.
And it's interesting because sometimes one tool will help out another as John Griffin comes up to the plate. Griffin with a .380 slugging percentage on the season, although that can be tapped into and driven into the atmosphere, as he's known to send home runs out of ballparks right and left.
And a lot of times, if you don't have good contact skills, that's going to lead to not having a great slugging percentage as well. Because if you're not getting any singles, that's eliminating one of the hits out of your repertoire, which would help your slugging percentage.
And of course, the most common type of hit would be the single.
So if you're lacking the very common single, well, the slugging percentage is going to struggle as a result, even if you're hitting quite a few homers the way John Griffin is.
This is very true. Very true. He is a guy that is known to string together hits and hit for contact at times as he spoils a pitch away. How about Josh McAdams outside of the camera view of your screen? A ball went towards him in the on-deck circle, and he caught it with a bare hand. Last year, John Griffin at a point had at least one hit in 20 of 25 games in the month of August, including 8 multi-hit games. So he's known to be able to string together hits at a time. Still trying to turn that corner this season, although the Crustacean Nation faithful know very well that that corner will be turned sooner or later. Stan Clyburn, Blue Crabs manager in his second total season with the Blue Crabs, first since 2015, is well aware of that fact.
And John Griffin is already starting to prove that he can hit for contact in this series. He is a strong 3 for 7, 2 for 4 in the last game, and he was 1 for 3 in game 1 with a 2-run home run.
And what a catch by Blue Crabs bad boy Will Wollenhouse over there in the third base dugout. He stood up and caught one with his bare hand. Man, I wish we had that on camera. What a catch by Will. What a good guy. I get to talk to Will about at least once a day. If I have my way, hopefully a couple more times than that. Will's such a great kid. Check over to first, and what a pickoff move by Thomas Dormany to peg Charlie Valerio over at first for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, it's a tough break for Charlie Valerio, whose secondary lead was a little too large, and he thought that there was a commitment to home plate, but clearly not.
And that's a tough thing to do with a lefty. Typically, with a left-handed pitcher up, because he can look at you and pick off without stepping off of the rubber, typically a coach will tell you if you're just taking a secondary lead, don't take that until you're positive that the pitcher is going home as the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Whereas if you're going to steal a base off a left-handed pitcher, The coaches will tell you the first sign of movement from the pitcher is when you'll steal the base. So you commit immediately. Out of the windup now is Dormady as Griffin sends a shot down the left field line. He's tapping into that aforementioned power. Rounds first. Here he comes chugging into second. It's going to be a close play. Dives in and under the tag. What a play by the Somerset Patriots to try to get Griffin, but his speed proves to be too much as a 2-out double comes for the Blue Crabs.
And that is going to hurt because of what happened to Charlie Valerio. Otherwise, the Blue Crabs could have runners on second and third right now with 2 outs, but instead, it's just Griffin in scoring position with 2 away. So either second and third with 1 out, instead, just a runner on second with 2.
Griffin now hitting 4 for 8 on this series, as well as a double and a home run. That ball just towed the chalk line down in left field. As you could see the chalk pop up when it hit the ball, you know that means it's fair, but it couldn't have been much closer. As Josh McAdams steps in, he's got a .364 slugging percentage on the season, meaning that he's getting at least a little bit over 3 bases per every 10 at-bats. As this pitch from Dormady will miss outside, the count 2-0. Interesting note about Dormady. In 2018, he was the Frontier League Pitcher of the Year with the Washington Wild Things. He was also named a midseason and postseason All-Star. He had a league-best .245 ERA in the Frontier League last year, as McAdams will take for strike number 1. He also finished third in wins with 9. He finished third in innings pitched with 132 and a third, and sixth in strikeouts with 109. A look back to second. John Griffin stands there. The 2-1 to McAdams. Misses a little high, a little outside, says home plate umpire Larry Rosenberg. Over at first is Bill Worthington, and at third, Nate Caldwell. Here on our first edition of Stats Sunday on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. Check back to second. Now ready is Dormady. Here comes the 3-1. McAdams liked what he saw, but spoils it off to the right side. The count now full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Once again, the stat we're breaking down today is slugging percentage, which means in the simplest of terms, you take the total bases that one has on the season, that one has gotten per hit. So if you get a home run, that's 4 bases, a single is 1. Take the total bases divided by the total number of at-bats, and you get your slugging percentage as McAdams swings through strike number 3. It's the second time in 2 innings that the Blue Crabs have swung through strike number 3 to end inning. But more importantly, it's the second time in as many innings that the Blue Crabs have had at least 1 extra base hit. That's what we're real focused on here on this edition of Stats Sunday. We're through 2 complete innings of baseball on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. 9-1-2 due up for the Somerset Patriots on the other end of this break. You're listening to Blue Crabs Baseball on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Tony Thomas, outfielder of Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. We all remember the day we fell in love with baseball. For me, it was when I watched the Field of Dreams. This is why I'm excited for June 21st, because on June 21st, the Blue Crabs are celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Field of Dreams. And we have a special appearance from Dwyer Brown. You may know him as John Kinsella from the movie. You don't want to miss Field of Dreams night at the ballpark on June 21st.
This is Kent Blackstone, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
We take you into the top of the 3rd inning of baseball here on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. The score 1 for each side as the Blue Crabs have 1 run on 3 hits, no Patriot errors. No errors for the Blue Crabs either, as the Patriots have scored 1 run on 2 hits. The 1 run for the Patriots coming on a Michael Ullman home run. The 1 run for the Blue Crabs coming on a Ruby Silva home run. As the first pitch will catch for a strike, Michael Kelly has been masterful outside of that home run he allowed back in that second inning. The other one of the Patriot hits was a double that followed the home run. That came from Ramon Flores. Kelly fresh off his best start of the season, going 7 innings strong against York back in that game, as this pitch will miss. Count 2-1 to Mike Francoso. Francoso has a .246 slugging percentage on the year. Not exactly what you're looking for, as this pitch misses upstairs. 3-1. Where exactly would a .246 sit on the totem pole? Well below average. He's not known as a power threat, as this ball is well struck to left field. Shouldn't be a problem for Josh McAdams, who nearly hits that Dairy Queen sign in left field. And that Dairy Queen sign, if you can't read it, means that after every Blue Crabs home game, if you bring in your ticket stub, it's buy one, get one free blizzards at Dairy Queen. That'll flip the lineup back to the top as the leadoff hitter, Darby Myers, comes to the plate. Let's talk a little bit more to a point we were talking about earlier about the 5 tools in the game of baseball. Myers clearly possesses the speed as this ball hit over the head of Corey Vaughn. He's back on the track, catches it over his shoulder. What a snag by Corey Vaughn for out number 2. Vaughn also possesses speed. I've said it time and time again, and I'll continue to say it. Vaughn is just about the closest thing to a 5-tool player, or really one of the few 5-tool players in the Atlantic League. He'll do all 5 tools for you and do them all very well.
One question I always have about the 5 tools, though, is do MLB teams, I think that there's a real difference of opinion among many teams, do you value the tools or do you value the production?
That's a great question.
Because there are 2 almost completely different things. Now, in this upcoming draft,
as this ball smacked to the right side, Ruby Silva gives chase. It bounces in front of him for a base hit single from Ray Navarro.
So again, going back to that last point about do you value production or do you value the tools? In this upcoming draft, there are a couple players, one of which is Andrew Vaughn, and the second of which is Adley Rutschman. These 2 are thought to be the top 2 picks in this upcoming MLB draft. Now, let's start with Andrew Vaughn. Now, Andrew Vaughn has production out of this world. The guy had a 1350 OPS a season ago. He has a over 1200 OPS this season. Again, good, a very, very good OPS is in excess of 900. He's at 1250. Give you an idea of how good that is. And Adley Rutschman is at 1350 this year. So production very good for both of them. Now, Andrew Vaughn is not a 5-tool player, though. He's more like a 2 or a 3-tool player. Outstanding contact, outstanding power, fielding, not so much. Speed is okay, and his arm is okay. But none of those tools really jump off the page. It's only the contact and the power. So some teams are saying, well, we're more likely to care about that than we are some of those other tools.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting, especially in this age of analytics, which is really one of the reasons why we're doing a Stats Sunday type of thing. Because in this new age of baseball, when so many deep statistics are looked into, we want to give you guys some explanation, which is what we're doing today. But I think in an age of analytics, it comes down to what type of front office is it? Is it a new age front office or an older school front office, if you will? Whereas the Astros would likely go for the guy that is showing production through analytics, and an older front office or an older school front office may opt for the individual that clearly has the 5 tools despite the lack of production. At least that's my take on it.
Yeah, you make a good point that back in, at least what was portrayed in the movie Moneyball, was that a lot of the scouting directors or some of the head scouts were in a meeting and they're saying, oh, this guy, the ball pops off his bat, or they were saying that a guy's a 5-tool player. But when you look into it, what are his numbers? How is the guy actually producing?
He may have those 5 things, but if he can't actually use them correctly, what good is it? I think it's an interesting question, as a curveball will miss upstairs to count 3 balls and a strike. So if you were the general manager for a team drafting one of these individuals, that let's say we have a guy that isn't producing but very clearly has the 5 tools, would you try to tap into those, or would you opt for the individual that has already shown that he has the production, although he may not have the 5 tools? As this ball is slapped up and out of play.
All right towards me.
Oh, it's up here in the press box, but it misses.
If I could have gotten there, I've got a computer on my lap here. It's a bit tough to maneuver my way over there. I'd have to cross over the camera.
I'll say that's the first time I've ever seen a ball up here in the press box.
This was maybe, 20 feet to my right. I would have had a play on it, but so be it.
Need to see more hustle out of you.
I'm not sure what I could have done there.
I don't think you could have done anything. 3-2 pitch, runner goes on, and Espinal fouls a pitch back.
I think it's time I answer your question, though. Which one would I take? Now, this is my thoughts on it. If I am picking in the first round, I don't want to bust.
Yep.
And I feel like somebody who hasn't produced yet, who is the so-called 5-tool player, has a higher bust percentage than someone who has produced at a high level time and time again. There are a couple of players who are those 5-tool players who are yet to produce, so I'll get to them in our next half inning. We have 2 outs here, so don't want to get too far into that.
As this pitch hit well to the left side, won't get out, but will hit the mini-monster on a bounce. Fielding it barehanded is Josh McAdams. Strong throw in keeps Espinal at first and puts runners on the corners as Espinal comes in with a 1-out single, putting runners on the corners. Ray Navarro at third.
Yeah, that was a very well-hit ball, but outstanding fielding out in left field.
And McAdams, the guy that typically plays the infield, his bat has allowed him to sneak into the lineup for this evening's game, as Stan Clyburn has given Tony Thomas a near everyday starter the night off. Or really, yes, an everyday starter.
Yeah, an outstanding play by McAdams out there in left, taking that ball 1 hop off the monster and throwing a dart back into the infield. That looked like it would easily score a run.
Will Kenger's first pitch he sees is a high fastball that he'll slap back towards the press box. No balls and a strike to count to the left-handed hitting Kenger. Kenger has an incredible 773 slugging percentage on the road this season. That is well above the outstanding line. 0-1 pitch hit very hard to the left side. Line drive is caught in the air by Edwin Garcia. And Michael Kelly strands runners at the corners with 2 down to send us into the bottom of the 3rd inning. Kelly doing a good job working around back-to-back singles with 2 down. As we'll take you into the bottom of the 3rd when we return on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. It's the top of the order. You know what that means. Angelique Nina, Ruby Silva, and Frank Martinez on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Craig Stem, right-handed pitcher for the Blue Crabs. Here at Regency Furniture Stadium, we've dedicated every Friday home game to remember everybody deployed. On Red Fridays, presented by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, the Blue Crabs will wear red uniforms to honor those who have served. Plus, tickets are just $5 when you show your military ID. Come help us celebrate those who have served our country at Regency Furniture Stadium every Friday night.
This is Ryan Chafee, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Welcome into the bottom of the 3rd inning of baseball here in an intensely close game in Southern Maryland. The Blue Crabs drop the first 2 of the series, and we take a 1-1 ball game into the bottom of the 3rd. Taking you back through last night's game, it wasn't too close between the Blue Crabs and the Patriots. That happens from time to time in the game of baseball, as the Patriots struck early and often, putting up 9 total runs to the Blue Crabs. Just 1 run, as Frank Martinez had a solo shot marking the 1 run on the board for the Blue Crabs as Angelise Nina takes the ball in the dirt and the count 1-0. Just a reminder, fans, it is Austin's turn to come up with a trivia question as Angelise Nina slaps a single up the middle for a leadoff hit.
It is.
Later in this inning, if he would like to, Austin has the opportunity to ask me a trivia question.
I'm gonna be doing some research here.
Fair enough. Fair enough. As Ruby Silva strides into the plate, Silva, the very powerful individual here on a Stats Sunday that we're focusing on a stat that is all about power. Ruby Silva exuded his power in his first at-bat, slapping his 3rd home run of the year to put the Blue Crabs on the board back in the bottom of the 1st inning. Silva shows a bunt, however, as a slap bunt up the middle. Dormady off balance, throws it to second, and gets the lead runner on a hurry. As a nice play puts a fielder's choice away for out number 1. Silva has many tools in his belt, one of those being that slap bunt, which is very valuable to have when you hit out of the left-handed batter's box. Frank Martinez comes up.
So we're going to go with a pretty basic one here. Okay.
We'll take it in the 4th inning. 4th or 5th inning.
4th or 5th inning. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So we'll give you a little bit more time.
All right.
As Frank Martinez rolls up. Keep in mind, fans, as Frank Martinez swings through the first pitch. Keep in mind, fans, tomorrow, tune in to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network for our weekly giveaway here in Regency Furniture Stadium that you can only get on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. It's as a reward for being the Crustacean Nation faithful that you are tuning in every single night. We've already given away well over $150 worth of tickets this season alone. We've given away a total of 12 tickets. And tomorrow we may not even be giving away tickets. We may be giving away something even better. You'll have to tune in and see. 0-1 pitch to Martinez is slapped off the knee of the catcher, Larry Rosenberg. The home plate umpire gives a courtesy call and walks out to the pitcher. It's a little bit of an unwritten rule in the game of baseball. It means that sometimes if the catcher gets injured, if he gets hit with a baseball, the umpire will walk out to the mound and give the ball to the pitcher. It gives the catcher just a couple of seconds to recoup. Sometimes he'll do what he just did, wipe some dirt off the plate, whereas if the umpire gets hit, the catcher will walk out to the mound and hand the ball to his pitcher. With the Atlantic League MLB rule changes, I don't know that that would necessarily be allowed, however, as the MLB has enforced the rule that you're not allowed to have any mound visits, although in that circumstance, my guess is that it would be acceptable. 0-2 pitch to Martinez, bounces 58 feet, as we'll see the count run to a ball and 2 strikes to Martinez. Martinez, of course, a switch hitter as the third baseman on the season against right-handed pitching, is faring much better against right-handed pitching. Against left-handed pitching, Martinez is struggling. He's hitting just 167. See if he can change that around here as he'll swing over a 1-2 fastball. He's down for the 3rd Dormady victim of the day. 3 strikeouts in 2 2/3 innings of work for the southpaw. Jose Julio Ruiz, the final chance for this 3rd inning of baseball should the Blue Crabs try and extend what could be an insurance run. Break this tie, I should say. Here with 1 down, make that 2 down and 1 on. A slight shift to the pull side of Ruiz as a check over to first. This time no go, as Ruby Silva wasn't too far off. Ruiz steps in. He's had this heavy pull shift on him all series long, and when I say pull shift, I'm referring to he hits the ball to the right side very often. So the fielders are adjusting accordingly, meaning that they will move to their right, our left, their left, our right, as you see them a little bit more to your right than you typically would. I talked to Ruiz about that the other day, as he was saying he just hits the ball where it's pitched, and that in reference to the fielders, I should say, is he said that if he sees a pitcher or a fielding crew adjusting accordingly, that he'll try to hit the ball the other way. Whereas if they were maybe on the left side of the field, he'd try to hit the ball to the right side of the field. As Silva goes on the pitch in the dirt. Nice base running by Ruby Silva as he sneaks into scoring position. That was a little bit of a delayed steal by Silva, but a coach will tell you 10 times out of 10, if you read a pitch in the dirt, immediately try to get to second base. It's exponentially harder for a catcher to throw out a runner in those circumstances.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. A great stolen base that time from Silva. Exactly what you said in the delayed steal. Recognizing the pitch was in the dirt and taking off immediately.
2-0 the count to Jose Julio Ruiz, whose fouls one back into the foot of Larry Rosenberg. 2 balls and a strike the count. Ruiz to this point in the game has not had an official at bat, as a walk does not count as an official at bat. So he's 0 for 0 on the day in his one plate appearance. For Ruiz, that was his first walk of the season. As the southpaw comes home to the left-handed hitting Ruiz, a slider is chopped back and foul, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jose Julio Ruiz spent 2018 in the Atlantic League, but with the Road Warriors. If you're unfamiliar with the Road Warriors, they were a placeholder team as the High Point Rockers prepared for their inaugural season, as the Road Warriors only played on the road. Check back to second, nobody covering, making sure Ruby Silva wasn't getting too far off the bag. Ruiz on the season 5 for 16 with a pair of doubles, giving him a .500 slugging percentage on the season as we continue on our Stats Sunday. Ruiz chops one into the dirt and over into the grass on the right side of the infield. The count remains at 2-2. So a .500 slugging percentage, Austin, we've been over this a few times, but the .500 mark, where would you say that ranks? Obviously not quite outstanding, but above average.
It's good. I think it's a good slugging percentage if you're there. I like to think of things in terms of OPS, which is on base plus slugging. And if you have a OPS upwards of 750, you're doing above average. So if you have a slugging of 500.
As Ruby Silva swipes third base now, as he's now stolen 2 bases. Good job by Silva being aware, as with a left-handed pitcher.
That was a stand-up steal.
And it's really tough for a left-handed pitcher to see a runner at second base. A right-handed pitcher can see you out of his peripheral vision, whereas a left-hander can't see you at all. Good job by Silva recognizing the high leg kick and coming home. Now the count works full at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
That can allow him to score on a wild pitch, a pass ball. Can score an infield single. All sorts of things that he couldn't have done from second base.
Silva came into this game with just 1 stolen base on the season, now 3. Just in this appearance on the base paths alone. Payoff pitch on its way from Dormany. Here it comes to Ruiz. He stays alive as he fouls one back. Pitch number 9 of this at-bat incoming. Looking over at Thomas Dormany so far on the evening. He's thrown 49 pitches. The 9th of this at-bat will be number 50. He's got his sign. The 9th pitch of the at-bat hit over to the right side, flipped on to first, and the Blue Crabs will strand a runner in scoring position to end this 3rd inning. When we come back on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network and the play-by-play off to Austin Rooney when we come back on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Craig Maddox, infielder and hitting coach for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. Mondays get a bad rap. Most people dread them. Here at the Blue Crabs, we look forward to Mondays. That's because at Regency Furniture Stadium, every Monday home game is Marked Down Monday. That means we slash prices on tickets and on food. Mondays no longer have to be the worst day of the week. Now you can look forward to them with Marked Down Mondays.
Muhammad. You're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
As we welcome you back inside Regency Furniture Stadium, Austin Rooney alongside Andrew Banstra. Glad to have you with us in a 1-1 game between the Patriots and the Blue Crabs. The Blue Crabs had a solo home run from Ruby Silverback in the bottom half of the first inning. Somerset had a solo homer from this man, Michael Ullman. And the first pitch to Ullman misses for ball one, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. And the 1-0 is fouled off and away, and the count even at a ball and a strike as Ullman found that pitch down the first base line.
And we know the type of speed that Michael Ullman possesses. He has a .533 slugging percentage on the road this season coming into this game. That only went up with the home run earlier.
And the 1-1 pitch misses, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Michael Kelly has a pretty similar pitch count to that of the Somerset starter, Thomas Dormany. Both of them at right around 50 pitches as the 2-1 pitch is fouled away, and the count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Mike Ullman.
You got to be careful working to Ullman. You can tell he's hitting well on the road.
Breaking ball on the 2-2 misses low, and the count runs full at 3 balls and 2 strikes on the right-handed hitter.
At the same time, Somerset's game is to string together base hits, so you don't want to give them any free bags.
Fastball inside corner, strike 3. And Michael Kelly earns the strikeout on Mike Ullman.
Third
strikeout. 1 away in the top of the 4th.
Third strikeout of the game for Kelly, his 10th over his last 10 1/3 innings. He's really coming together in a starting role. Struggled a little bit in the relief role earlier this year, but Stan Clyburn, Darryl Thompson, and the rest of the staff understood he'd bring it around, and he has.
Breaking ball on the outside corner for strike 1. Here's the 0-1 delivery. This time he goes with a fastball. It misses low and in, and the count a ball and a strike. Another note on Michael Kelly was how well he pitched his last time out against the York Revolution as the 1-1 fastball misses low. He went 7 innings of work, allowing just 4 hits. Did not walk a single batter and struck out 7. Here's the 2-1 breaking ball, again on the outer half of the plate for strike 2.
Kelly clearly confident coming into this 4th inning of work. Shoulders back right after batters.
And the 2-2 pitch, a ground ball through the left side for a base hit.
And that's just a tip your cap type moment if you're Michael Kelly. He's working really well. You can't ask for much more than a ground ball, but that is a professional piece of hitting by Ramon Flores. He saw very clearly that hole between the third baseman Frank Martinez and the shortstop Edwin Garcia, and very deliberately put it in between them. Everybody on the defense has to tip their cap to Flores in that scenario.
And it wasn't a particularly hard hit ground ball either, a weakly hit ground ball to the left side, enough to give Flores a base hit. Fastball on the outside corner for strike 1, and the count no balls and 1 strike on the 7-hitter Alfredo Rodriguez. Rodriguez a right-handed hitter as he digs in. Flores off first base. He's 2 for 2 on the evening. The 0-1 pitch. Again, he goes with the off speed, and he's now ahead in the count 0-2 as Alfredo Rodriguez was frozen on that pitch.
And it's tough as a hitter when a pitcher is going to come with back-to-back curveballs to begin an at-bat. You just don't know what to expect on the 3rd pitch.
And that's what Michael Kelly has done so well by mixing up his pitches. Here's the 0-2. That pitch misses low, and the count a ball and 2 strikes is Alfredo Rodriguez not about to swing at a 3rd consecutive curveball.
Alfredo Rodriguez in the first game of this series went 3 for 4 with a double. In the second, he was 0 for 1 with 3 walks. That's the most that any individual opponent of the Blue Crabs has drawn this year.
Flores off first base in a 1-1 ball game. 1 away in the top of the 4th. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on a line. Drive into right field for a base hit. Silva fields it on a hop and quickly throws to second base. It's not quite in time to get Flores.
But what a strike by Ruby Silva. We talk about that defensive prowess he possesses. He comes up and sends one on a dime to the second baseman, or the man covering second base, the shortstop Edwin Garcia. You don't want to run on Ruby Silva, and he'll let you know that every day of the week.
You talk about a player's tools, the arm and fielding, two separate ones, each of which is extraordinarily important, and Silva certainly has the arm. Runners go. Throw down to second base is in time. There are two away.
And what a play and what recognition by Charlie Valerio. It wasn't necessary. It may have been a planned double steal, but in that scenario, the runner at second base is going to go on the pitch. And if the runner at first sees the runner at second go, then he'll go on cue. What happened there is that Charlie Valerio knew he had no chance at third, snaps one down to second, and with one down, now two, the runner at third doesn't matter all that much.
Cut on the ground ball over towards shortstop. Garcia's got it, fires to first, and that'll do it. Michael Kelly works out of trouble in the top of the fourth. Still a 1-1 ball game from Regency Furniture Stadium. You're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Ryan Canary, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
It is a 1-1 ball game in the bottom half of the fourth inning between the Blue Crabs and the Patriots. And Corey Vaughn digs in from the right side of the plate. A center fielder hitting just .239 with his batting average.
But when we look over at his slugging
percentage, also at .329, not fantastic for the right-handed hitter. That's during night games. I beg your pardon. You want to get his overall slugging percentage. I'll give you that as well. Corey Vaughn's slugging percentage at .418, significantly better. Now, the night game numbers were the numbers I'm going to give you about your trivia question today, as the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. And my question to you is, who are the top 2 batters for the Blue Crabs in slugging percentage? How about just the top batter in night games?
Among qualified players or total players?
I believe this player qualifies.
So it's not Jose Julio Ruiz.
It is not Jose Julio Ruiz.
Give me a half inning to think about it. Top Blue Crab in slugging percentage.
It might surprise you.
Okay.
1-1 delivery is cut on a line drive into left field for a base hit. Vaughn looks like he might be digging too, but he applies the brakes and will pull up at first.
And as a reminder, here on our first edition of Stats Sunday in 2019 on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network, slugging percentage is a percentage that shows you that not all hits are equal. A home run is much more valuable than a single, and this is a percentage that is able to put some value to the power that some players possess. It's the total bases reached through hits divided by total number of at-bats on a scale of 4.0 to 1.
And Charlie Valerio digs in. The pitch, it lays down a bunt down the first base line. It's a base hit. Charlie Valerio had a bunt and it got by the pitcher, Dormady, down the first baseline. Dormady couldn't handle it, and all of a sudden, Charlie Valerio is aboard with a base hit.
Valerio now 2 for 2 on the game.
And in this series, he is an outstanding 4 for 5.
What a series it's been, and not to mention he had a home run in this series, too.
Runners on first and second with nobody out.
I think
the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs as Edwin Garcia steps into the right-handed batter's box.
The bunt is at the forefront of my mind.
First pitch misses upstairs for ball one. The count, a ball and no strikes.
Garcia, an individual with very, very good bat control, the type of person that can lay down a bunt on a dime. Would not surprise me at all to see him lay one down here.
He tries to lay one down, but it is a foul ball, and probably luckily so for the Patriots, because the throw from Ullman was in left field.
Yeah, that was interesting. It seems like Ullman just kind of fielded that like a shortstop and just came with it on some rhythm and really sailed that pitch. Make that throw.
That throw was, way over the head of Navarro. He had no shot at trying to grab that. The 1-1 delivery. And Garcia was trying to bunt that ball, had trouble doing so. I believe he may have hit his finger on it as he is wincing in pain behind home plate.
As we talk about the courtesy that umpires have with their catchers, as umpires will sometimes walk out to the mound and talk to a pitcher when a catcher gets hit. Well, in this situation, he calls over to the bat boy, Will Wollenhouse, and says, hey, bring me some baseballs. Let's give this individual some time to recuperate. And very sportsmanly so, allows Edwin Garcia some time, as Garcia has now dropped his bat and continues to wince in pain. Another thing that umpires will do is clean off the plate just as kind of a time killer. And now athletic trainer Lauren Eck is going to come out to check on Edwin Garcia, along with the first and third base coaches and manager Stan Clyburn.
And it shows you Edwin Garcia and how much he wants to stay in a game, because he was all ready to say, you know what, I want to step back in this box, but his better judgment was telling him, you know what, I got to make sure I address this issue. And I believe when he was bunting, as he was trying to bunt that ball, his thumb was on the upper part of the bat. And I'm not sure if it directly hit his thumb or the vibration from the bat in his thumb is what jammed it.
And there's one of three things that could be the case here in terms of the injury that come to the forefront of my mind. One of them being that vibration. There's a triangular bone in between the webbing of your thumb and your index finger. That triangular bone can oftentimes be broken through repetitive vibration or repetitive maybe pain that you feel. And many times people in professional baseball will have that broken over time. Giancarlo Stanton, a good example. Another one would be a simple fracture or break to the bone itself. The third option would be that sometimes so much pressure is applied by the baseball to the skin that the skin actually splits open across the whole finger, the latter of those options being the most rare of the three.
And if it's not a fracture, it would be the best case scenario at all. The fourth option might just be a bruise.
That's very true. Very true. And it looks like it is none of the options that I laid out, as Garcia is able to still swing the bat.
You'd have to think with any of the previous three, you probably couldn't do any of those.
Very true. Exactly. If it was a true injury such as that, science would tell you that you would be very hard-pressed to be able to swing a bat with full grip. 2 strikes in this at-bat. Still wouldn't be shocked to see Garcia lay down a bunt, but it would surprise me a little.
Runners on first and second, nobody out. The 1-2 upcoming from Dormany. He comes set, steps off the mound.
And it looks like Garcia is going to pull this bunt back. I would be surprised if he doesn't. He had signs of doing that before Dormany checked back to second base. Expect a pullback swing.
Cut on and shot foul towards the Blue Crabs bullpen. And the count remains a ball and 2 strikes on the right-handed hitting shortstop. Garcia taps home plate twice. Vaughn leads off second, Valerio off first. The 1-2 pitch is cut on and foul back to the screen. And the count remains a ball and 2 strikes.
We talked about this a little bit last night, but Edwin Garcia, one of the better individuals in all of the Atlantic League at the art of spoiling off pitches. They say protect with 2 strikes, which means that anything close to the zone, if you don't want to hit it into fair play, you better hit it into foul play. Garcia, very, very good at doing that.
The 1-2 once more. Fastball upstairs, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
No signs of a bunt from Edwin Garcia again, as at the very least, he'd like to move runners into scoring position. Powerful John Griffin awaits on deck.
The 2-2 pitch is cut on a line drive to second. They're going to double off Vaughn at second base. Nicely caught by the second baseman, Massey. He flipped to short. Rodriguez was covering, and there are 2 away in the bottom of the 4th.
And that's just a bad break for the Blue Crabs. Well hit ball to the right side. Corey Vaughn did the exact right thing, all he could have done. In that situation, a coach will tell you to freeze on a line drive, which means stop moving. Well, Vaughn was in the midst of his secondary lead. He froze when he saw that it was a line drive, but by the time Massey gloved it, it was too late to get back to second base. Bad break for Southern Maryland.
And the first pitch to John Griffin, who homered earlier this game, cut on and missed. And the count 0-1 on the right-handed bat. He didn't homer. He had a base hit. The home run was to Ruby Silva.
Griffin
did homer earlier in this series. So I first said this year, then this game. Turns out he just homered this series.
Griffin 4 for 8 in this series with a double and a home run.
So runner on first with 2 gone. Count 1 ball and 1 strike on John Griffin. Patriots took the lead. I beg your pardon. The Blue Crabs took the lead in the bottom half of the first. The Patriots tied it in the top of the second as the 1-1 delivery misses low and in, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Valerio leads off of first base. He is 2 for 2 today. And the 2-1 pitch is a ground ball over to shortstop. Fielded by Rodriguez. He throws to first, and that will do it. We're done with 4 from Regency Furniture Stadium. It's a 1-1 ball game. You're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Matt Dean, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
We're back in the top half of the 5th inning as Michael Francoso digs in. Francoso, a left-handed hitter and the right fielder for the Patriots. The first pitch in there for strike one, and the count no balls and one strike. A 1-1 ball game in Waldorf, Maryland, as a breaking ball clips the outside part of the plate, and the count no balls and two strikes.
Francoso finished 7th in the Atlantic League in walks last season with 62. Tied 7th in games played.
The 0-2 pitch, cut on, a check swing. They motion over to third and say he went around. And Francoso is down on strikes as Valerio applies the tag, one away in the top of the fifth. So Andrew, do you have an answer to the question about who has the highest slugging percentage during night games for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs?
Let's see. Is it Frank Martinez?
No, it is not.
How many guesses do I get?
I'll give you two more.
Two more? Okay.
Darby Myers digs in from the right side. First pitch is cut on, a high fly ball into right field. Silva takes about 5 steps in and makes the catch for the second out of the inning.
Highest slugging percentage in night games.
Night games in particular. We're going in the splits direction here.
Is it an everyday starter?
No, but he plays a good amount.
Well, that makes it tough. Has he played in more than 20 games?
No.
Well, then that makes it really tough. Well, there's only a handful of guys that haven't played in 20 games, so I can rule out a good amount of people.
As the first pitch in there for strike one on the left-handed hitting Ray Navarro.
I can rule out Frank Martinez. I can rule out Nina, Garcia, Vaughn, and Silva.
The 0-1 delivery, a slow ground ball to second base. Nina fields on the backhand and throws wildly offline. And now a runner on second base with 2 outs is Ray Navarro. Will be placed on second base. It will be a hit, I believe, for Navarro.
I
think it'll be a base hit, and they're reeling it. Oh, wow. It's going to be an error, actually, against Nina. It might be a hit and an error. We'll have to see what the ruling is. I saw a ground ball that was hard for Nina to field. By the time he turned and fielded it, so runner on first base. So a hit and an error have been put up on the Mini Monster scoreboard. As the first pitch misses for ball 1.
So let's see. I can rule out just about everybody outside of Josh McAdams, Charlie Valerio, and Mike Falsetti.
And Michael Kelly steps off the mound.
So I'm going to go with, let's go with Falsetti.
And you are correct.
All right.
Mike Falsetti has a very strong 478 slugging percentage during night games. And the 1-0 offering a fastball on the upper part of the plate. And the count a ball and a strike.
I really like the incorporation of slugging percentage into the trivia question here on our Stats Sunday.
Well, that was the whole purpose.
Well, I like it.
And I wanted to go slightly outside the box.
And it was, yeah. It's relevant. It's
not your most, not who you'd think of generally.
No, that's true. That's true. That made it tough.
And he's hitting .261 for average in night games, which is significantly above his average.
Yeah, that's interesting considering that Southern Maryland has only played a handful of non-night games.
Falsetti hitting .200 on the season. His overall slugging is at .343, which is not very good, but .463 during those night games. Count 2 balls and 1 strike on Edwin Espinal. Runner on second base, 2 outs. The 2-1 pitch cut on and fouled off towards the dugout. And the count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes on a beautiful evening in Waldorf, Maryland.
It's especially interesting considering the fact that the Blue Crabs really struggle in they really struggle in night games while they fare pretty well in day and morning games.
Well, that's exactly right. To give you the numbers in particular, 2-19 during night games, 4-3 during morning and day games. The 2-2 delivery cut on a ground ball through the hole on the left side for a base hit. The throw to the plate is over the head of Valerio. It's going to score a run. And Espinal trying to extend it into a double, and he's safe at second. So Edwin Espinal drives in Ray Navarro on an RBI single and finds himself at second base after the throw went home.
Very interesting play. A little bit of a high throw from Josh McAdams. Allows the run to score. I think that run may have sneaked in, whether that throw was high or not. But regardless, the high throw moves another run into scoring position. Keep in mind, Southern Maryland fares much better when they do score the first run of the game. They did so today, and did so for the first time in this series today. Tomorrow, the Blue Crabs start a 4-game set with High Point.
And the first pitch is a breaking ball outside to Kenger.
Tomorrow, the first time the Blue Crabs ever host the High Point Rockers for a regular season game.
The 1-0 delivery, a fastball on the outside corner for strike one. The home plate umpire, Larry Rosenberg, calling that a strike. It looked awfully close to me. What did you see there, Andrew?
Yeah, it looked to be right on the corner, and that's really at an umpire's discretion with a call like that. That's the type of pitch that paints the black, as they like to say, and it sure did.
Count, a ball and a strike. The 1-1 delivery is cut on a slow roller down the first baseline. And Valerio picks it up on the foul side of that line. And the count, a ball and 2 strikes.
And that was reminiscent of the very first run that was scored in this series. It came all the way back in the first inning of this series as Will Kenger had a runner at third base. He had a little chopper over to the right side. Charlie Valerio, who caught in the first game, thought it was going to go foul. He let it wait and go foul. Well, it just never did, as a run would end up scoring because of it. Valerio wouldn't let the lesson get him twice as he snagged it the second he saw it in foul ground.
Kelly comes set. The 0-2 pitch misses low and in the dirt. Nicely done by Valerio to block that pitch, and the count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Runner on second base with 2 gone on the top of the 5th. It's a 2-1 Patriots lead.
Appreciate, as always, everybody tuning into the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. Catch tomorrow's game at 6:35 with that first pitch. 6:25 on the air on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. John Hayes on the bump for Southern Maryland.
The 1-2 pitch, fastball just off the outside edge, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Also, during tomorrow's broadcast, we're going to be doing a giveaway. In just 3 giveaways this season, we've given away more than $150 in giveaways. Tomorrow, we may have something extra special for you.
Count actually 3 balls and 2 strikes. The scoreboard indicated a 1-2. It was 2-2. Now the 3-2 pitch is cut on and missed. Kenger goes down swinging. That's the end of 4.5, but not before the Patriots score a run and lead this game 2-1. You're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Craig Maddox, infielder and hitting coach for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. Mondays get a bad rap. Most people dread them. Here at the Blue Crabs, we look forward to Mondays. That's because at Regency Furniture Stadium, every Monday home game is Marked Down Monday. That means we slash prices on tickets and on food. Mondays no longer have to be the worst day of the week. Now you can look forward to them with Marked Down Mondays.
John Hayes, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Bottom half of the fifth inning in a 2-1 Patriots lead. As Thomas Dormany back out on the mound, starting his fifth inning of work. He's thrown 66 pitches. As the first pitch to Josh McAdams, the 9-hitter, is in there for strike one on the outside corner. McAdams, a right-handed hitter, has a .217 batting average, the OPS a hair under 600.
As we mentioned, the bees being a problem here earlier today, is Dormany swiping some sort of insect away from his face. Hopefully, for his well-being, the answer would not be a bee. Here on Pokemon Night.
There are still a few hundred bees not too far away from us as the 0-1 pitch misses outside and the count of ball and a strike. They're all huddled up together on the netting. Count a ball and a strike on Josh Adams. Dormany comes set. The 1-1 offering. Cut on and miss in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. We'll try to get you a look of those bees that I mentioned briefly ago. With the base paths empty and no outs. 2-1. Somerset advantage. And the 1-2 delivery misses inside in the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dormany comes set. Adams digs back in from the right side. And Dormany will step off the mound. McAdams will be followed by Nina and Silva. The 2-2 pitch is swung on and a high chopper over towards second base. Fielded by Massey, throw on to first is in time, and there's one gone in the bottom of the fifth inning.
A good survival swing there by Josh McAdams. He did a good job trying to get a piece of that. Got a little bit on top of it. And when you swing down on a pitch, as you are advised to, as opposed to swinging up on a pitch, sometimes that'll happen. Nice play by Massey.
Base paths empty and 1 gone as the first pitch swinging from Nina, a slow grounder down to third. Navarro's got it. Strong throw to first is in time, and a quick 2 outs recorded by Thomas Dormany. Taking him just 6 pitches.
Ruby Silva, the prime and only source of offense, runs-wise, for the Blue Crabs to this point in the game. Obviously, the solo shot back in the first. Can he replicate that? There's been nobody on the Blue Crabs this season that's had a multi-home run game.
First pitch is a breaking ball to the left-handed hitting Ruby Silva. It's in there for a strike despite the fact that he backed away from the pitch. The 0-1 delivery. Swung on a line drive right back to the mound. Dormany fields it. He'll toss to first, and that'll do it. Took just 8 pitches for Thomas Dormany to retire the side in the bottom of the fifth. Still 2-1 Patriots. You're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
So, what do you like about your home?
Practice like hockey. I practice stick handling and sometimes shooting. Mommy, go outside sometimes. I like playing lacrosse. Playing the switch. I like the scribble. Daddy, I like to build Legos at home. I have the biggest closet. Riding my dirt bike.
We help you home. At Hometown Real Estate, we want to help you and your family home. Whatever that takes and whatever that means to you. Give us a call at 888-225-2736.
Charlie Valerio, and you are listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
We welcome you back inside Regency Furniture Stadium for the top half of the 6th inning. It is the Patriots 2 and the Blue Crabs 1 as Michael Kelly is out there for his 6th inning of work. He went 7 his last time out, allowed just 4 hits, no runs. He did not walk a batter either in that contest. Tonight, Kelly hasn't been quite as good, as he has pitched 5 innings, only allowed 2 earned runs. He's allowed 8 hits, though, and walked a batter. First pitch is cut on and missed from Mike Ullman. And the count, no balls and 1 strike. The 0-1 offering a fastball again. That looked awfully close, but Larry Rosenberg doesn't give him the benefit of the doubt. And the count, a ball and a strike. The 1-1 delivery, breaking ball, this time on the outside part of the plate for strike 2. And Ullman has fallen behind in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's the 1-2 offering. Cut on a foul tip off of Charlie Valerio's chest protector, and the count, a ball and 2 strikes still.
In 21 1/3 innings of work this year for Michael Kelly, he's allowed 8 earned runs, those in his 3 starts, now 4, including tonight. He's gotten just 2 runs of run support in those 21 1/3 innings.
The 1-2 delivery is swung on and fouled off down the right field side. And the count remains a ball and 2 strikes.
That's just not going to get it done offensively. You need to give your starter a little bit more run support.
Here's the 1-2 once more. Breaking ball misses low. And the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Base paths empty in a 2-1 Somerset lead. As Ullman digs back in from the right side. The 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. I was stunned as it was a late call from Larry Rosenberg. It froze up Mike Ullman. Didn't see a call for quite some time. And there's 1 gone in the top of the 6th.
In fact, I never even saw the call because I looked back at you with a mouth wide open enough that a couple of these bees could have had a chance to fly into it. Interesting story, actually, after this pitch.
First pitch fastball upstairs and outside to Ramon Flores, count 1-0.
Growing up, I would go to the Iowa Cubs games. Now, the Iowa Cubs are the AAA affiliate of the Chicago Cubs, for anybody that doesn't know.
1-0 delivery in there for strike 1, and the count, a ball and a strike to left-handed hitting Ramon Flores.
And I would go to the game with my parents.
The 1-1 delivery, cut on, and a chopper over to second. Nina's got it, he'll flip to first, 2 gone in the top of the 6th.
I'd go to the game with my parents and my aunts and uncles and my cousins and my grandparents, and one time, my grandma, who always had a hot dog at the game, was eating a hot dog, and right before she took a bite, a bee flew onto her hot dog, and it actually got into her mouth. Now, I don't remember if it stung her in the mouth. I think it actually did. I think it stung her tongue.
Well, it would make sense if it stung her, and that's got to be a painful sting in the tongue.
Yeah, that would hurt, man. Really hurt.
As the first pitch misses on a breaking ball to Alfredo Rodriguez. A note on that last batter, Ramon Flores. He was 2 for 2 coming in, had a couple of base hits, a double and a single. And Kelly just retired him for the first time today as the 1-0 misses in the count, 2 balls and no strikes with 2 gone on the top of the 6th. Still a 1-run Somerset lead as a fastball right down Broadway. And the count, 2 balls and a strike. Base path still empty with 2 gone, the 2-1. Fastball again. This one clips the inside corner.
And Kelly well en route to a quality start. No action in the bullpen, however.
He's thrown 97 pitches. Breaking ball. Just low. And it's a full count now on Alfredo Rodriguez.
I love the way Kelly's coming after these batters. No time in between pitches.
Here's the payoff pitch. Fastball right back up the middle for a base hit. Nice piece of hitting from Alfredo Rodriguez.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's just a great piece of hitting. Coaches will tell you to hit it where it's pitched. Now, if it's a pitch on the outside corner, hit it to the right side of the field if you're a right-handed hitter. If it's a pitch on the inside corner, hit it to the left side of the field. That pitch was a little bit outside, so he takes it basically right up the middle, but a little bit to the right side, and puts it on the ground. It was a line drive closer to the ground. You're told to swing down on pitches, and it was a line drive.
Runner on first base with 2 gone in the top of the 6th. 2-1 Somerset as they look to add an insurance run to their tally. First pitch is a breaking ball on the outside corner to Craig Massey. Craig Massey ranks 2nd in the Atlantic League in walks. He has 18 of them. The 0-1 pitch swung on and fouled off behind home plate. In the count, no balls and 2 strikes.
Massey, the batting champion in the Atlantic League last year, hitting .338, barely outdoing the former New York Met last season.
Massey has 25 hits this year, 18 walks, including an intentional walk. And a toss over to first base as he checks on Rodriguez.
Massey, of course, nearly out-hitting the former Met, Jordani Valdespin. A lot of former New York Mets in this league.
Kirk Neuenhuis, another one of them. A pitch out that time from Michael Kelly. In the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Michael Kelly well aware of Alfredo Rodriguez over at first base.
I've watched every Blue Crabs game this year, and I've only seen a handful of pitch outs. You won't see them too often.
Rodriguez only has 3 stolen bases. The 1-2 pitch is a fastball upstairs. Kelly looking over at Rodriguez quite a bit, even after that pitch was thrown, to make sure he wasn't going anywhere. And the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner on first base. Somerset 2, Blue Crabs 1.
That's often the value of speed, even if you're not stealing. If your speed alone can get in the head of a pitcher, you've done your job.
The 2-2 pitch, cut on a ground ball over to short. Garcia's got it. He throws to first, and that will do it. 5.5 through this ball game. It's the Patriots 2 and the Blue Crabs 1. You're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Ryan Chafee, right-handed pitcher for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. Sunday afternoons are the time to be at Blue Crabs games. Every Sunday home game is Kids Day at Regency Furniture Stadium. With the ticket, you will get access to a free pre-game autograph session, kids get free admission to Pinch's Playground, and kids run the bases for free after the game. Come join us for Kids Day every Sunday Blue Crabs home game.
Chooky Beat.
This is Ryan Chafee, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Bottom half of the 6th inning, and a 2-1 Patriots advantage over the Blue Crabs. First pitch to Frank Martinez misses outside from Thomas Dormany. And the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Dorminey's thrown 74 pitches, 49 of them for strikes. And an off-speed pitch again misses outside, and the count, 2 balls and no strikes on Frank Martinez. Base paths empty, no outs in the bottom of the 6th as the 2-0 offering is cut on and fouled off over towards the Blue Crabs dugout, and the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Martinez digs back in and kicks around some dirt in the right-hander's batter's box. 2-1 offering. Fastball low and in. He checks his swing in the count, 3-1. Martinez 0 for 2 on the evening. He struck out both times. And a 3-1 delivery cut on a one-hopper to short. Great fielding by Rodriguez. Throw to first. And it's unable to be handled by Kenger. It was a one-hopper, and they're going to give the base hit to Frank Martinez. A very well-hit one-hopper over to short. Rodriguez did well to field it. But eventually, it's a Martinez base hit after it was a one-hopper thrown to Kenger over at first base.
Great piece of hitting by Frank Martinez. Very well struck baseball to get on.
So a runner on first base with nobody out in the bottom of the 6th. The Patriots 2, the Blue Crabs 1. First pitch misses outside. We'll check that. That's a strike on the outside corner, according to home plate umpire Larry Rosenberg.
As we roll on our Stats Sunday here on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network, slugging percentage, the point of focus.
And the 0-1 delivery is a fastball below the knees to Jose Julio Ruiz.
Once again, slugging percentage, the notion that not all hits are equal.
And the 1-1 pitch is fouled off behind to the screen, and they count 1 ball and 2 strikes on the left-handed bat.
It takes into account the amount of bases eliminated by all of the hits, dividing that by your total amount of at-bats. So if you hit all home runs, you would always have 4 bases, so your slugging percentage would be 4. If every time you came up to the plate you had a single, well, then your slugging percentage would be 1, because every time you get a hit, you get a single. It shows how much power does one have.
The 1-2 pitch, breaking ball in there for strike 3. Jose Julio Ruiz goes down looking, and there's 1 away in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Corey Vaughn, who's 1 for 2 today, taps his bat off of his cleat as Martinez with a 3-stride lead over at first base.
This may be a situation where the Blue Crabs might want to employ the hit and run.
First pitch, 2-hopper over towards short. Get the out at second for 1, back on to first, not in time. Rodriguez had a tough time handling it initially. He bobbled the ball, but still managed to get the lead out at second base.
And that's a situation for the Blue Crabs. If you have to get the second out of the inning, I think I'm okay trading Vaughn for Martinez. Martinez has good speed. Vaughn's is better. And when you have to choose a runner to have on, Vaughn is one of the top individuals of choice with 2 down.
2 outs, a runner on first base. And Charlie Valerio kicks around some dirt in the right-handed batter's box. And Thomas Dorminey tosses over to first as he checks on Vaughn. Charlie Valerio is 4 for 5 in this series. He was 2 for 3 back on Friday night, had Saturday night off, and he's 2 for 2 tonight as Dorminey fires back over to first to check on Vaughn.
And as a left-handed pitcher, you do have the advantage in that you can pick over to first. You have your eyes on the runner at first. Many times lefties don't take advantage of that because of the presence in and of itself is a threat.
First pitch cut on, a high chopper over to second. Massey's got it. The throw to first is a little offline, but snagged by Kendra nonetheless, and that'll do it. We're done with 6 innings of play at Regency Furniture Stadium. It's the Patriots 2 and the Blue Crabs 1. You're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Ryan Canary, infielder for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, and when I'm not playing baseball, I love spending the day on the water. That's why I'm calling all captains. Steer your boat to the lighthouse atop Regency Furniture Stadium for our celebration of National Seafarers Day. On June 25th, we celebrate those who roam America's waterways and make America the special place that it is. Come join us for Calling All Captains Day on June 25th.
This is Andrew Johnston, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Welcome back inside the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. We are through 2/3 of a game of baseball here in Southern Maryland. We head into the final third with the Blue Crabs trailing by a single run. The score 2 for the Patriots, 1 for the Blue Crabs. As we head into the top of the 7th, new arm on the mound for the Blue Crabs is Kevin Munson. The right-hander, number 26, takes the hill. And Austin's got all the numbers you'd ever need to know on the newcomer.
Yeah, Kevin Munson's got a 2.70 ERA through 6 2/3 innings of work. His whip, which we will eventually highlight in one of these stats Sundays, is at 1.05. Strikeout total at 5 6 2/3.
Munson's got an interesting delivery in that it almost doesn't look like he finishes his pitches, and that's not a criticism at him at all. I find many times that whatever gets the job done, gets the job done. If you're a basketball fan, Sean Marion might be one of the first individuals that comes to mind, in that he had one of the most unorthodox shots in basketball history, but it worked extremely, extremely well. And for Munson, he just doesn't seem to follow through all the way on his pitches. As this pitch hit well to the left center alley, Josh McAdams on the backtrack. The right-handed catching McAdams puts it in his glove as he extends onto the warning track near the outdoor creation sign for out number 1, and all it took was 3 pitches.
Yeah, it was a well-hit ball, though, one that Munson's probably pretty lucky is not extra bases. But a nice play out in left center by McAdams, and he's somewhat fortunate it was hit directly to left field.
That brings up Darby Myers. Interestingly enough, Austin, we talk quite frequently as the first pitch will miss for ball number 1. Frequently in the game of baseball, we talk about the second leadoff hitter, if you will, or the 9th batter in the order. Well, that's come to fruition many times in this ballgame as the 9-hole for the Patriots, Mike Francoso, has led off an inning 3 times, as Ruby Silva shouldn't have any trouble putting away out number 2, and he does not. 5 pitches have been thrown by the newcomer, Kevin Munson. It has equaled 2 outs here in the top of the 7th inning. The goal of a pitcher is to get his bats back to the plate as soon as humanly possible, and Munson doing all he can to get that job done. You want to leave the other team out in the field stagnant and for as long as possible, and you want your own team to stay in the dugout and let their players go up and hit as the first pitch to the 2-hole hitter. Ray Navarro comes in for strike number 1. Navarro 2 for 2 with a walk, 2 singles, and an RBI on the day as a pitch narrowly misses the outside corner. A ball and a strike the count. Navarro on the season a .431 slugging percentage. Austin tells us that is right near average as a hot shot liner over towards the right side is put in that deep glove of the first baseman Jose Julio Ruiz for out number 3. An 8-pitch top of the 7th inning for the right-hander Kevin Munson in his first inning of work. Before we let you go, let's put a pin on what was Michael Kelly's day. The right-hander pitched extremely well. He did get the quality start. He went 6 innings, allowing 9 hits, 2 runs. Only one of them was earned. His ERA plummets down to 4.44. He walks 1 while striking out 6. As a note, in Michael Kelly's last 13 innings, he's allowed just 1 earned run, 1 walk, and he struck out 13 batters. Let's send it over to the break. Sweet Caroline on its way from Regency Furniture Stadium on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Kent Blackstone, infielder for the Blue Crabs. Here at Regency Furniture Stadium, we've dedicated every Friday home game to remember everybody deployed. On Red Fridays, presented by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, the Blue Crabs will wear red uniforms to honor those who have served, plus tickets are just $5 when you show your military ID. Come help us celebrate those who have served our country at Regency Furniture Stadium every Friday night.
This is Angelinina. You are listening to Blue Crab Broadcast Network.
Welcome back inside the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. We take you in to the bottom of the 7th inning of baseball here on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network here in Regency Furniture Stadium as Edwin Garcia leads us off in this bottom of the 7th. The first pitch he sees misses for ball number 1. 1-0 the count to the shortstop. Edwin on the evening is 0 for 2. He lined out into a double play in his last plate appearance. New arm on the mound for the Somerset Patriots as he misses for ball number 2. It's Mike Broadway, a 6'5", 215-pound right-hander out of Golconda, Illinois. He last pitched for the Omaha AAA affiliate of the Kansas City Royals. Gets his first strike across right down Broadway, as that one was nearly unavoidable. Had to get that out of my system. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
As this one hit hard to the left side, but loops right into the glove of Edwin Garcia's counterpart shortstop, Alfredo Rodriguez, for out number 1.
Mike Broadway has been especially good on the road. His road ERA is 1.50, a whip of 0.83. On the season overall, a 3.75 ERA and a 1.08 whip. So significantly better on the road than at home. It's something we've seen consistent among this Patriots roster.
As John Griffin takes the first strike, the count 0-1. We talk about batting average and slugging percentage on this Stats Sunday. In this series, John Griffin is 4 for 9, which is good for a 444 batting average. But his slugging percentage would be even higher, considering the fact that he has a double and a home run in this series, and considering the fact that slugging percentage is not on a scale of 1.0, rather on a scale of 4.0. That being because batting average only accounts for any hit and treats all hits equally, whereas in slugging percentage, it takes into account how many bases did this individual reach by this hit.
And because he's reached 8 bases, 4 from the home run, 2 from the double, and a total of 2 from each of the 2 singles, He has 8 bases and 9 at-bats, which gives him an .888 slugging percentage.
Which is absolutely phenomenal, but he'll take strike 3 here as he'll be set down via the strikeout. The first of the day for the newcomer, Mike Broadway, and Josh McAdams, the final hope of the Blue Crabs half of the 7th. The left fielder comes in 0 for 2 to this point with a strikeout as well as a ground out. Southern Maryland tried to snap a 10-game losing streak here at home in the series finale with the Somerset Patriots. Broadway's first pitch hit a mile high, but not as far, coming back towards us in the press box. Catcher Ullman not quite sure where it's going, and up. And Austin catches it and gets a standing ovation from the crowd as he'll catch it. How about that? First time I've ever seen somebody catch it in person, and Austin looks over to Mark Schwartz, the Somerset broadcaster, as Mark last week caught a ball on the air and got all over the internet. He became a viral sensation. He had a live interview on SportsCenter. He was on Yahoo. He was literally everywhere. He was on Jimmy Kimmel. And if somebody got that on tape, we'll see Austin, who made a phenomenal catch. It bounced out from a seat below us, and everybody in the stadium saw it. Austin, you're a celebrity all of a sudden. Now what do you have to say? Does it feel any different?
I hope I get on ESPN. I'm not sure quite as deserving, but hey.
To take what you can get.
That's about right.
1-2 the count to McAdams. Nearly misses the outside corner. We're even at 2-2. Whole lot of twos on the scoreboard. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and 2 runs for the Patriots. The Blue Crabs with just 1 as they're chasing that 1 run. Southern Maryland's 1 run came all the way back in the bottom of the first when Ruby Silva sent a solo shot out of this stadium, but we're done with 7 innings played as Josh McAdams is set down on strikes. The Blue Crabs go 1-2-3 in their half of the 7th. When we come back, it's the Patriots up to bat as they send Ray Navarro, Edwin Espinal, and Will Kenger, the heart of their order, up to the bat when we return on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Hey Blue Crabs fans, this is Tommy Thorpe, left-handed pitcher for the Blue Crabs. Did you know that every Thursday night game at Regency Furniture Stadium will feature the brand new food special, Clyburn's Chow Hall? Just for $30, you can enjoy all-you-can-eat food in the Legends Club. Clyburn's Chow Hall will alternate between beer and wings presented by Foster Grill off Waldorf and tacos and margaritas presented by Mexico Restaurant.
This is Matt Dean.
Welcome back inside Regency Furniture Stadium. We take you into the top of the 8th inning of baseball. Just 6 outs left in this ball game. Make that 12 outs left in this ball game to be recorded. Within those 12 outs, Southern Maryland trying to chase at least 1 run, and at the very least send us into extras. Kevin Munson back on the mound, trying to keep this deficit right where it's at after an 8-pitch first inning of work for Kevin Munson as he retired the side in the 7th. Edwin Espinal up to the plate, and the second pitch of the at-bat is fouled up towards the press box, not within Austin's arm reach.
No, it's not. I made the first ever catch on a broadcast, on my broadcast I've been a part of at least.
And I've never made one. This is my second year in Southern Maryland, and I've never seen a ball come that close. What happened, folks, actually this is the second time in a game that a ball has come up near the press box as Espinal spirals around and swings through. Strike number 3, down for out number 1, 4 straight retired for Kevin Munson. The first one that came up here as you may not know, up in the Blue Crabs press box, you've got the broadcast booth, and out in front of it is a small section of seating. And in that section of seating is where the first ball went. The second ball bounced in the stands beneath us and bounced right into Austin. Well, I'm going to give you more credit than that. It wasn't just right into your hand. You had to reach out and make a good catch, and you did. As the count 0-1, Will Kenger swings through a fastball in the dirt and quickly falls behind, no balls and 2 strikes.
Keep in mind, I've got a computer on my lap, so I saw it was coming towards me, dropped the computer, placed it, to be more specific, placed it down on the ground, and then saw, hey, it was dropping in front of me. It hit a seat down there. I was like, well, it's gone. And I'm about to pick it back up, and it comes right back up towards me.
And you got a standing, well, not quite a standing ovation, but you got
a sitting ovation.
A sitting ovation from the crowd. And in the broadcast booth, we'll take any type of ovation we can get. The attention's always on the players, so if we could get the ovation, I think that's always a good sign. As Kenger fouls one off his own leg, and will stay at a ball and 2 strikes. Once again, our counterpart broadcaster, Mark Schwartz, over in the booth next to us for Somerset, became a viral sensation last week. He had a live interview on SportsCenter. He was all over the internet, from Jimmy Kimmel all the way to ESPN to everywhere. I emailed him right when I saw it. I said, I just saw you on SportsCenter. And the video, last I checked, had 1.2 million views. As Will Kenger swings through strike number 3, back-to-back batsmen set down on strikes to begin this 8th inning. And Austin, even if you don't get 1 million views, 1 view from me was good enough, right?
That's right. We had a few from our surrounding people in the stands here. Maybe 12.
You had 1 million in my heart. How about that?
How about that?
Does that count for anything?
Not sure.
All right, well, we'll get back to you on that. As 2 down, bring up Michael Ullman. Ullman 1 for 3 in this game, but the one was mightily important. It was a home run back in the 2nd inning of play in what was the equalizing run at the time. The Blue Crabs struck first in this game with a home run from Ruby Silva in the bottom of the 1st. Somerset struck right back as the count equals at 1-1 with a home run of their own in the 2nd. They would later score in the 5th with an RBI single from Ray Navarro to put them ahead 2-1. We stay at that score at the current moment as Kevin Munson looks to stay perfect. Another pitch spoiled off to the right side, should get out of play and does. As the oohs and ahs from the crowd continue, this time not because of Austin making a good catch. But maybe there was some overlap there.
Maybe. You never know.
You really don't. 1-2 the count. As the Blue Crabs try to snap a 10-game losing skid. Munson gives him a cutter and slings right through it. Michael Ullman, the 3rd strikeout victim of the 8th inning. Kevin Munson strikes out the side, and we head into the bottom of the 8th inning of baseball here on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network, where your Southern Maryland Blue Crabs will send up the top of their lineup, Angelise Nina, Ruby Silva, and Frank Martinez, when we return on your Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is John Griffin, infielder for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. When I'm not playing baseball, I'm watching it. That's why I'll be staying after the Blue Crabs game on June 9th to watch the Battle of the Badges game, where local police officers and local firefighters go head-to-head in a game of baseball. Come join me on June 9th and watch the best game of the year.
We take you into this bottom of the 8th inning of baseball on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network, a barn burner at Regency Furniture Stadium as Southern Maryland closes out and polishes up a series finale with the Somerset Patriots trying to take at least one. New arm on the mound for the Patriots, Luis Cruz, the left-hander, a former Road Warrior, comes up. He features a fastball, a curveball, a cutter, and a changeup. He's 5'9", 205 pounds, and this is 12th appearance of the year. Austin's got all the numbers you'd ever need to know on Luis Cruz after this pitch that catches for strike number 1 to Angelis Nina.
Now, Andrew, you mentioned how he was on the Road Warriors a season ago. Well, his experience with the Road Warriors has carried over this season, as his road ERA is significantly better than his home ERA. His road ERA sits at 2.70, while his home ERA upwards of 6.
An unintended overlap from last year, as the Road Warriors were a placeholder team in the Atlantic League last year. As Nina takes a close pitch on the outside corner, Larry Rosenberg, home plate umpire, says strike number 2. Road Warriors played all 126 games in the Atlantic League 2018 season on the road. That's right, they had no home. They were always traveling. That's extremely difficult to do as Nina spoils a pitch to the right side. It's extremely, extremely hard to perform well when you have no home, especially when you're always traveling. It can become very tiresome. Well, Cruz was exceptional under those difficult circumstances. He was an Atlantic League All-Star despite being a member of the Road Warriors. He was rewarded by a spot on the Somerset Patriots. The 1-2 offering misses outside, and we're equal at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cruz wears number 9 on the back of his gray jersey with the navy blue decals. He's out of San Juan, Puerto Rico. He peaked in AAA. Glove over the face. Here comes the 2-2. Nina knew it was too close for comfort and slaps it back into the screen to stay safe. Waiting on deck, Ruby Silva, the lone offensive producer for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs to this point in the game. Just the 1 run came on a solo shot back in the bottom of the first off the bat of Ruby Silva. For the Blue Crabs, they have 1 run coming off 7 hits. No Patriot errors in this game. 2 Patriot runners have scored, one of them in large part due to an error, as the Blue Crabs have 2 times in this game that they've completed an error. 9 hits in this game by the Patriots, 4 runs scored. Make that 2 runs scored. That was a rough box score reading. Here comes Baez. This pitch hit hard to the left side, and it bounces off of the third baseman, Navarro. He has a hard time gobbling it up, and that will go down as an error on the third baseman. Nina will take it nonetheless. As Angelis Nina reaches base to lead off this 8th inning. Any way on should be the motto right now if you're Southern Maryland. It could be a hit, it could be an error, it could be a hit by pitch. No matter what it is, you'll take it if you are Southern Maryland, as a left-on-left matchup ensues, as Cruz has mightily struggled against left-handers this season, as he has a 6.23 ERA against lefties. In 4 1/3 innings pitched, he's allowed 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned. He has walked 1 while striking out 3.
And for the 4th consecutive game, Blackstone's on first.
As a bunt over to the right side, beautiful bunt by Ruby Silva, but an agile move by the pitcher Baez tags away. It doesn't matter, the sac bunt has been performed. As you mentioned, 4 consecutive games that we've seen Kent Blackstone, and that's Stan Clyburn showing his confidence not only in Blackstone's base running abilities, but also the fact that he understands the importance of speed. That brings up Frank Martinez, as Martinez comes into this plate appearance 1 for 3 on the day. 1 for 3 on the day. A single in his last time up. That was back in the 6th inning. He'd love to make it 2 for 4 here. When you look at the series numbers for the switch hitting Frank Martinez, He's 4 for 8 in this series, hitting .500. That was coming into this game. Of course, with this game, 5 for 11. Still mightily good. He doesn't like the the call by Larry Rosenberg, and neither do the fans. As happy as they were with Austin's catch earlier, they're just about the opposite here in the bottom of the 8th. One runner in scoring position for Southern Maryland. His name, Kent Blackstone. Frank Martinez at the plate, awaiting the 0-1 from Baez. He'll take it inside. This one, a wild pitch that gets all the way to the backstop. The Blue Crabs are 90 feet away from tying this ball game up.
They've got a real opportunity here in the bottom of the 8th to try to tie this game and hopefully snap that 10-game skid they're on.
And this would be the opportunity to do so. The Somerset infield will come in on the grass, and with the speed of Kent Blackstone at first base, there's no question, at third base, there's no question that it's going to take a sharply hit ground ball and a clean throw home to get Kent Blackstone out. Baez is 1-1, fouled straight back. As the count runs to 1-2. Kent Blackstone stands just 90 feet away from tying this ball game up. A relatively deep fly ball would do the job for the speedy Blackstone. Got to get this ball in play if you're Frank Martinez. Get it on the ground, ideally. Martinez sends one deep into the right center alley. That should be deep enough to score Blackstone. Myers fields it and doesn't even think about throwing it home. The speedy Blackstone comes home to score, and the Southern Maryland faithful love it. We're tied at 2-2 here in the bottom of the 8th as Frank Martinez comes through with a big-time sac fly.
That is a massive RBI from Frank Martinez. He struck out twice today, earned a base hit his last time up, and comes through with the game-tying RBI in the bottom of the 8th inning. And talk about decision-making from manager Stan Clyburn, putting in Kent Blackstone, who ends up coming around to score.
And that is small ball at its finest. We started off this inning with an error. Angelis Nina reached. You'll take what you can get. We get a pinch runner that went to first in the form of Kent Blackstone. Ruby Silva advances Blackstone to second via the sac bunt. Kent Blackstone moved to third on a wild pitch, and a sac fly brought him home. That's small ball at a Q. 0-1 the count to Jose Julio Ruiz. Left-on-left matchup ensuing. Ruiz takes inside, and we're even at a ball and a strike.
Don't want to put a broadcaster's jinx on this one, but the Blue Crabs have not participated in an extra innings game so far this year.
That is true. As a broken bat chopper up the middle, Ruiz hustling. Shortstop Rodriguez fields it and off balance throws it over to first base for out number 3. The Blue Crabs will take what they can get, however, as a couple of sacrifices and a Somerset error plate the tying run of this ball game. When we return on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network, maybe a new pitcher on the mound. You'll have to stick around and see. We'll be right back on your Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Brandon Compton, right-handed pitcher for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, and I know that I wouldn't be where I am today without reading. That's why I'm inviting everyone to the Southern Maryland Reading Night presented by the Southern Maryland Regional Library Association on June 22nd at Regency Furniture Stadium. The game will also feature a free lunchbox giveaway and a post-game firework extravaganza. You don't want to miss June 22nd, where we jam-pack reading, lunchboxes, and fireworks into a fun-filled night.
This is Matt Latos, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
New arm on the mound for Southern Maryland. His name, Matt Latos. He just brought you into this inning. We'll take you through the rest of it as Latos hops up on the mound 10 inches above ground level to take on Ramon Flores. Alfredo Rodriguez and Craig Massey here on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. We can put a pin on what was a very good 2 innings from the right-hander Kevin Munson. He went 2 innings strong. No hits, no runs, no walks. But how about a trio of strikeouts, all of which coming in the 7th inning? Flores 2 for 3 on this game. First pitch from Latos, right down Broadway. Strike number 1 called.
Matt Latos has a very strong ERA. His whip is not. A 2.35 earned run average, a whip of 1.96.
As Latos comes home with the 0-1, a splitter right over the bat of a swinging Ramon Flores.
Latos has come on a few times with runners on base and allowed those runs to come home, but that does not go against his ERA. It goes against the previous pitcher's ERA. What that does go against is his whip, though. So in those circumstances, the whip is affected, the ERA is not.
As Latos, when you look back at his season numbers, 10 appearances, this is 11. When you look back at his early season, he made his major league debut at the ripe age of 21 with the San Diego Padres. The next year in his sophomore season, he would finish 8th in the Cy Young voting in the MLB with a 14-10 record and how about a 2.92 ERA.
Was thought to be one of the top pitchers in Major League Baseball and had an opportunity at that time. I mean, didn't want to get too ahead of himself, but there was a real possibility he could have been a Hall of Fame pitcher.
Very true. When you look back at his career numbers, he has a better career ERA than the likes of Bartolo Colon, who probably won't be a Hall of Famer, but due to his popularity and fame and long-tenured career, might be. As a curveball rings up Ramon Flores. See you later. He'll head to the bench, and the Blue Crabs have struck out 4 consecutive batters dating back to the beginning of the 8th inning of play. Here we are in the top of the 9th. That brings up Alfredo Rodriguez, much like his predecessor, Ramon Flores. He comes into this at bat 2 for 3 on the game. And much like Flores, he has been caught stealing in this game as the Blue Crabs catcher, Charlie Valerio, has thrown out a pair of Somerset runners. Latos set tan glove in front of his face. Out of the stretch, here he comes home. The tomahawk motion towards home results in ball number 1. Latos obviously worked out of the windup for the majority of his career as he was a longtime starter in the MLB. In fact, back in his make that third season in the MLB, he started the most games in the MLB or tied for it with 33. Latos home with the 1-0 and a miss downstairs. 2 balls and no strikes, the count.
Matt Latos had 5 consecutive seasons with an ERA under 3.5 and a whip under 1.25. That's outstanding.
Absolutely phenomenal. Keep in mind, a quality start equals a 4.50 ERA when you let up the maximum 3 runs in a quality start.
Matt Latos seems to have a problem with his landing spot on the mound, or it might just be that front foot is bugging him. He's now down on the count 3-0, and he's kicking some dirt on the landing spot on the mound.
And he was doing so before the inning started as well.
He's a big guy, 6'5", 6'6", which means that he might be landing a little further ahead of where Michael Kelly was landing and some of the other pitchers.
Very true. 3-0 pitch on its way. It'll catch the strike zone right down the plate. 3-1 the count. In fact, Luis Cruz, the most recent pitcher, is 9 inches shorter than Matt Latos, so a very different landing spot. Latos, the tallest pitcher to grace the bump here this evening. 3-1 pitch, tomahawk right over the top, and it catches for strike number 2.
He's done well to fight back in this count. He seemed almost distracted by the landing spot, but he has settled down and thrown a couple of really nice pitches.
Payoff pitch on its way from Latos. Number 41 chucks this in, a ground ball to the left side. Garcia waits a good hop, slings it across the infield. Jose Julio Ruiz, the first baseman, puts it away for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for the Blue Crab closer, Matt Latos. That brings up the last hope in regulation, Craig Massey. Massey on the game 0 for 3, a pair of ground outs to the shortstop Garcia, as well as a strikeout swinging. He has recorded the third and final out in each of his plate appearances. Latos looking to make it 4 times in this game. Latos on the first base side of the rubber comes home with the pitch. It'll catch the lower portion of the strike zone. 4 strike number 1 to Massey. Massey with a .303 slugging percentage on the year, well below average. Here on Stats Sunday, where we break down those analytic stats that may cause somebody a little bit of trouble understanding. Slugging percentage, the point of focus on this first edition. Slugging percentage, to recap, is different from batting average in that it doesn't treat all hits equally. Slugging percentage is the average number of bases reached per at bat. So how many bases is this individual getting per each one of his hits realistically? It only plays into hits. So if somebody had a 4 slugging percentage or a 4,000 slugging percentage, that would mean that they're always hitting home runs. Latos home with a 1-1. Changeup swung on and missed by Craig Massey. The count of ball and 2 strikes. Massey, the 2018 Atlantic League batting champ with a ripe .338 ERA. Make that batting average.
I got to be honest, I think Matt Latos is in pain on the mound right now. After that pitch, he was wincing back towards the catcher Valerio and initially said, "Don't throw me the ball." Then said, "Just give it to me." And he seems disgruntled up there.
See if he can finish it out here on this 1-2. Here he comes home with it. It'll miss low and inside, and you're right. It looks like he is gingerly putting any weight on that right foot. 2-2 the count. He's very hesitant to put any weight on that right foot.
I'm a little surprised we haven't seen any move from anybody from the dugout. Because if you can, you're all allowed to visit for medical purposes. You don't have to take him out of the game after visiting for medical purposes.
Well, I think from their vantage point over in the dugout, that's much harder to see than it is from ours. We can see his face as where they may have a little bit more trouble doing so. 2-2 the count, 2 down in this 8th, make that 9th inning as Latos misses down low and is visibly displeased with the result of that last pitch. 3-2 the count. Latos trying to get out of this inning with a 1-2-3 performance. Hands clapping here at Regency Furniture Stadium on Pokemon night. Latos on the first base side of the rubber. Here comes the payoff pitch. It'll miss down low, and once again, he looks to be in pain, covering his face with his jersey. And now I would be slightly surprised if you don't see a mound visit.
I have not seen any motioning from the dugout.
And sometimes it can be hard to tell from the dugout. Sometimes the dugout may be thinking, well, maybe he's just displeased with that last pitch. And very well, that could actually be the case. We may be misinterpreting this, as many times a pitcher, especially one of Latos' pedigree, would gesture over to the dugout and let them know that he is in fact injured. That's what we saw with Miguel Nunez last night. Nunez, when he was injured, looked over to the dugout and said, "Please give me some attention," and they did. First pitch crosses for strike number 1 to the 9-hole hitter, who comes up in the form of Mike Francoso. Francoso's first time in this game not leading off an inning. As Latos looks to get the hold, another stat we'll cover at some point in this season. Tonight's focus, slugging percentage. Latos a check over to first, back easy and safe is Craig Massey.
Massey, of course, leading this Patriots team in walks. That was number 19 on the season for Craig Massey.
That's a lot.
That ranks second in all of the Atlantic League.
Latos set and ready to come home with the 0-1.
Nearly got him.
A much faster move this time, as Latos on his first pickoff gingerly threw it over. This time snaps one over. Keep in mind, tune in tomorrow night for a 6:35 first pitch, 6:25 broadcast as the Blue Crabs for the first time ever take on the High Point Rockers here in Southern Maryland. We'll have a giveaway as well. Tune in, answer a trivia question correctly, and you could be the winner. Runner goes on the pitch, snapped down to second by Valerio. Right on the money, but a tad late. What a throw it was by Charlie, as the stolen base will be credited to Craig Massey. The count now 1-1.
Well, Valerio's a very, very good catcher, and he's good with the bat, and he's good in the field as well. Something you don't get from a lot of catchers. His batting average has jumped all the way up to 236, and that was a superb throw down to second base, low, exactly where you want it.
No balls, 2 strikes the count, as Mike Francoso gave up a strike in order to let his counterpart Patriot get to second base. Latos, tan glove in front of the face, swung through and missed. See you later, batter, as Mike Francoso swings through the pitch. Latos runs into a little bit of trouble, but strikes out 2 of the 3 outs in the inning. We're tied, headed into the bottom of the 9th. You don't want to miss this bottom of the 9th inning on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Tony Thomas, outfielder of Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. We all remember the day we fell in love with baseball. For me, it was when I watched the Field of Dreams. This is why I'm excited for June 21st, because on June 21st, the Blue Crabs are celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Field of Dreams. And we have a special appearance from Dwyer Brown. You may know him as John Kinsella from the movie. You don't want to miss Field of Dreams night at the ballpark on June 21st.
This is Corey Vaughn, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Corey Vaughn introduces you to take us into the bottom of the 9th, and Corey Vaughn, the first Blue Crab batter to bat in the bottom of the 9th. As we take a tie ball game into the final frame of regulation, Corey Vaughn leads us off with Charlie Valerio and Edwin Garcia following. The ball still in the left-hander Luis Cruz's hands, as a pull shift is drawn by Corey Vaughn. First pitch misses outside, and if last inning is any indication, any way on is the motto for the Blue Crabs. They led off that 8th inning, reaching via the error as Vaughn takes a change up on the outer half, low and away, and we've got ball number 2. Following the error, Kent Blackstone checked in for Angelis Nina. Couple of sacrifices and a wild pitch brought Kent Blackstone in for the tying run of the ballgame. 3-0 the count.
Wow.
Not the start, and how short is the leash if you're Brett Jody on your left-hander Luis Cruz?
I don't see any action in the bullpen for Somerset. We've got a tough angle to the bullpen, but I don't see anybody working. But I couldn't imagine it's all that long.
As Vaughn draws a 4-pitch walk, and that is about the last Blue Crab you want on base in this situation. Vaughn's got base-stealing speed, although I wouldn't anticipate a stolen base in this situation. Although Valerio, with some of the best bat control on this team, I would almost be stunned to not see a sacrifice bunt here, despite the 2-for-3 day. Valerio, oftentimes, even when he's on a power surge, will bunt just to keep the defense off balance. He's got the speed to beat one out, too. He shows the bunt. He will pull back. Larry Rosenberg, the home plate umpire, says strike one. It looks like Charlie Valerio had no intention of actually bunting that in particular pitch, as he pulled back quite quick, although it was pretty much down the middle. Expect this pitch to be not quite so down the middle, maybe a little bit borderline a strike. Valerio shows bunt again. It is inside, as that's oftentimes what you'll see on a bunt attempt. Pitches tend to creep inside, trying to get a bunt to be popped up. See what Valerio does here with a runner at first. It's Corey Vaughn that stands there. A good bunt gets Vaughn in scoring position with one down. Valerio pops a bunt up and gets it off to the right side and foul. With 2 strikes in this particular scenario on a hot bat of Valerio, you probably take the bunt off, right?
I would agree, and that was not a good bunt at all from Valerio, that last one. The absolute worst thing you can do on a bunt is pop it up. Oftentimes the runner will be going, which could lead to an opportunity for a double play ball for the defense.
Valerio showing bunt again. I'd be surprised if he actually lays it down, but he's got the bat control to do it. Still showing bunt. Vaughn a short lead at first. Here comes the 1-2. A good bunt off to the right side. That should move the runner, and does. Will Kenger, the first baseman, gets it down, and what a sign of trust by the Blue Crabs manager, Stan Clyburn. How about back-to-back innings with a sac bunt?
Very well done. That time around, Valerio laying the bunt down the first base line to move over Corey Vaughn into scoring position.
The Blue Crabs came into this game with just 4 sacrifices on the year. How about 2 in each of the last 2 innings? Edwin Garcia up to the plate, 0 for 3 on the day. He does have a pair of line drives that have gone right to either middle infielder. Takes a swing at a curveball and swings through it, strike number 1. Fans on their feet here in Southern Maryland. Cowbell a-ringing. Runner in scoring position, Corey Vaughn. He's got the speed that anything into the outfield should spell a W in the win column for Southern Maryland. A slider doesn't slide like it was supposed to, and the count evens up at 1-1. Luis Cruz, the former Road Warrior, taking on 2018 Atlantic League All-Star Edwin Garcia. He has been either the team MVP or the team co-MVP in each of his 2 seasons in Southern Maryland. Here comes Cruz with the 1-1. Garcia up the middle. Under the glove, Rodriguez gobbles it up. It's going to be a close play, and it pulls off the first baseman. Runners on the corners with just 1 down, and John Griffin on his way up to the plate.
Wow. That was unbelievable. A ground ball over to short, which was seemingly an easy ball for the Somerset shortstop, Alfredo Rodriguez. But it took him a little while to get there, and his throw was offline. Should that throw have been online, it would have been the second out of the inning. I think the throw was there in time to get Edwin Garcia, but instead, runners on the corners with 1 out.
That goes down as an error on the shortstop, Alfredo Rodriguez. Infield back, looking to turn the double play, even the corners back, most likely.
That's surprising.
It is surprising. The only thing I can think is the power of John Griffin keeping them back. You expect a hard-hit ground ball, and Griffin doesn't necessarily have the best speed, although his power makes up for that lack of speed. So you may have some time to get him at first.
Yeah, if you're at third base, though, you have to either make a snap decision. You don't have time to look at the plate to see if you've got time. You either go to second for 1 or you go right to the plate. You can't do both.
1-1 the count. Runners on the corners as Southern Maryland knocking on the door of breaking a 10-game losing streak.
And they've got the option here. Do you want to deal with Griffin or do you want to deal with McAdams? Second base is open. The only runner that matters is the runner on third base, Corey Vaughn.
I think you're real careful.
Garcia is irrelevant at first.
Griffin hits one deep into center, and that should be the ball game. Corey Vaughn tagging from third. Myers comes up throwing. Vaughn strolls down home, and the Blue Crabs walk off the Somerset Patriots. And here comes Ruby Silva on a revenge tour, trying to get the water. Oh, and he drops it. He was trying to get the water on Vaughn and dropped it. Last Blue Crabs walk-off. Silva got dumped on, tries to do the same here. What a game by Southern Maryland, a roller coaster affair. As the hero of the game, John Griffin, coming home with a big time sac fly to walk us off in Southern Maryland. And what a game it was. The Blue Crabs win 3-2.
Yeah, and it ultimately comes down to Cruz, who allows 2 unearned runs to the Blue Crabs, who took advantage of the Somerset mistakes. 1 in the bottom of the 8th, and then here Alfredo Rodriguez at shortstop with a bad throw that leads to the winning run, as a sac fly was enough to do it. As the runner at third base, Corey Vaughn, came around to score. Throughout the night, Dormany for Somerset and Kelly for the Blue Crabs both pitched quite well. In total, they went 12 innings of work and surrendered just 3 runs. 6 innings for each pitcher. Kelly allowed 2, Dormany allowed 1. As far as the big bats in tonight's contest, 2 hits from Valerio, 1 hit from Griffin, a home run from Ruby Silva. For Somerset, 4 players with multi-hit games: Ray Navarro, Edwin Espinal, Ramon Flores, and Alfredo Rodriguez.
And wow, what a game it was, as the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs saw a 2-1 deficit coming into the 8th inning. This is a team that's mightily struggled when they attempt feats such as coming back. This just their 3rd comeback win of the year in total. And this was a game in which they scored first, Austin, something we know to be a precursor of good things to come. One of the biggest bats in this game, as you mentioned, you can look down the list and thank a lot of guys. I think the small ball came into a lot of play in this ball game, as the sacrifice led to both of the latter Southern Maryland runs. The Blue Crabs scoring started off with a home run by Ruby Silva. A sac fly by Frank Martinez brought in another in the 8th. In the walk-off run, a John Griffin RBI sac fly, bringing Corey Vaughn for the victory. We'll be back on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network tomorrow night, as Southern Maryland, for the first time in franchise history, is going to host the High Point Rockers here at Regency Furniture Stadium. And folks, you don't want to miss it. We're going to have a giveaway tomorrow, and get this, in 3 giveaways this season, we've given away more than $150 worth of things. We're going to have something special in our back pocket for you tomorrow night. All you got to do is correctly answer a trivia question, and you're going to have a gift in your hands. We will be back tomorrow. We'll start the broadcast at 6:25 on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. For Austin Rooney, I'm Andrew Banstra saying thank you for listening and good night, but most importantly, go Blue Crabs.